Hello, I'm Ryan Permison. In the year of 1992, with the success of Batman from 1989 and Batman Returns from 1992, respectively, directed by Tim Burton, Warner Brothers Animation Studios was ready to move forward and take Batman in a new direction. In this case, they wanted to put together an animated series. So, with producers Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, among many others, they put together this incredible animated series that still stands up today as arguably one of the greatest animated series of all time. That series is called Batman, the Animated Series, which starred Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, and a host of other incredible actors and actresses that voiced some of the most iconic characters in comic book history. On this special presentation, we are going to be celebrating the memory of Kevin Conroy, who voiced the iconic characters of both Bruce Wayne and Batman on said series, as well as many, many other versions featuring the Dark Knight himself. Now, sometimes Batman needs a little bit of help to get the job done. So I'm not alone in this celebration. So please, by all means, if you have any thoughts about this, if you have any memories about Kevin Conroy that you would like to share with us, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We will bring those up here on the screen as best we can, and we'll get to them as soon as possible. With that being said, every Batman needs a Robin. Every Robin needs an Alfred, etc., etc., etc. So with that being said, please welcome our first panelist, Eli Ramos. Eli, welcome. How you doing?
How you doing, brother? Thank you for
I'm
having
doing
me.
well, doing well. Thank you so much for being with us. Also, I want to welcome another special guest here on this panel. Please welcome of Krypton Report. Krypton Report. Wait a minute, that's not Batman. Please welcome Tyler. Tyler's in the building. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being with us. We do appreciate it. Once again, if you have any memories, anything and everything involving Kevin Conroy voicing the character of Batman, etc., let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends, because they're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to this special presentation. We guarantee it. So with that being said, I'm going to turn things over to our panelists for a few minutes before I go ahead and share my personal story about meeting Kevin Conroy and some of my favorite moments. But I want to turn things over to Eli. Eli, what was your introduction to Batman the Animated Series, and what, if any, do you have any memories of meeting Kevin Conroy? The floor is yours, Eli.
The introduction animated series had to be. I remember seeing the Mr. Freeze episode on a Sunday on Fox 5 many moons ago. So they used to show on Sunday nights. They used to show like Batman cartoons. The Mr. Freeze episode, and I remember the Riddler episode. And then from there, I found out, oh, it's 5 days a week, and then I started picking up from there. That's so awesome.
Show that again, Tyler, real quick. What was that?
Ooh! Wow. I had to go great. You can't see my Batman shell. I'll try to tilt my monitor. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like up top, there's my Batman stuff.
So, okay, so there is more. So there is more to you than meets the eye, and just not Superman.
Yeah.
Is that Combat Belt Batman?
Yeah.
I have that one still in the box.
That was the only one when I was a kid I could find, and it's so funny because my mom bought my brother and I Batman and Robin toys, but this was the only Batman we could find, and my brother got the Robin from Batman Returns, which I have in the box and out of the box, but I'll share more later.
Yeah, thanks for interrupting the flow, Tyler. We've been here 3 seconds, and already you're messing up my mojo. But listen, Eli, what were you saying about your memories of Kevin Conroy? You mentioned the Mr. Freeze episodes that centered around Dr. Victor Freeze and Batman. What else, if anything, about Kevin Conroy?
To you. Yeah, so that I remember on my when you were nice enough to have me on your show last time, I talked about how that was like the Batman cartoon didn't talk down the kids. I was only 12 when that came out. And I remember watching, like the Disney stuff and all that, but there was something about the Batman cartoons that didn't talk down because it was like the comic books, and I wasn't really a big comic book fan at 12. I didn't get big into comics till maybe after this animated series finished, like around 15. I got my first job, so I started buying comics. But I thought comic books were cheesy because of Super Friends. I didn't like Super Friends. We talked about that too. So the animated series got me going into art, into writing, into teaching, into like reading comics. I have too many. So I owe that show a lot. It got me into like it didn't like there was something about the show that even had like it really had a deep psychological element to it. Like it taught you about mental illness and talked to you about how some family members might go through something and they're not the same when they come out of it, like Batman and Two-Face, and then falling in love with the wrong person, addiction, Harley Quinn, codependency. There was something about that show that really touched on it. But Kevin really voicing Batman, he really knew how to, like, if you listen to some of his podcasts or whatever when he was on these shows, he was really passionate about the character. He didn't read a Batman comic. He didn't know. He knew 66. That's about it. If you watch any of his interviews, he goes, I remember 66, but I didn't really know Batman. So from reading the script and realizing where Batman came from, like from the, his parents got killed and all that, he voiced Batman in his head. This is how he sounds. And it was amazing from somebody who really didn't know the character till later on in life. He embodied it so quick. And being a kid, we like felt it, like when he talked, you felt it, and it's the show really got me. Like, this shirt's from when I was 14 years old, by the way. Like,
oh gosh,
like 14.
And the fact that it still fits you 25 years later is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know how I feel about that right there. That's the part that I'm just like,
what happened?
I was like, what am I doing here again?
How's he got the shirt just still fit? I'm just like,
I have so many shirts. I think when I was young, we were just talking about like Kmart, how they had some of these once in a while. You were talking about that. Like, I got this, probably my parents probably bought this at Kmart for me. And thanks, Mom. Thanks, Pops. Like at 14.
There you go.
Going to my meeting of Kevin.
Yeah.
I was coming out of the firehouse, and New York Comic Con was that Saturday, I guess. And I was leaving 8 a.m., headed straight to New York. My phone was dying. But I bought, before I start, you remember the Batman black and white statues that are still around? I mean, like 150 of them at this point. Todd McFarlane took over. I got about 90 of them.
Oh, jeez.
When I before I started collecting, it was late. It had like 20 of them out already. So I was like, you know what? If I find the animated series one, I'll start collecting. If I don't find it, it'll save me money. Well, guess what?
You found it.
I went to go visit my daughter out west, and I found this guy.
Hold on a second. Let me put that on the big screen. Here we go. Ooh.
This is a hard to find Batman animated series one. So it was in this little box here. I took this box to work with me, right, with the statue in it. And when I bumped into Kevin, I got to show it to him. So he signed it right there.
And that's boss.
I was telling Ryan that when I thought about it, I was like, I'm just gonna get a signature from, like, I believe, people are people, I don't judge at the end of the day. I'm just there to, was there to get a signature if they're nice to me, nice to me. But I ain't gonna lie to you, I kind of have like this preconceived notion that it's.
Yeah. Did he freeze on us?
I think so.
Man, getting to the best part of the story. Eli, you froze on us, man. You might have gotten a phone call. I don't know what happened there.
Dial up. Someone picked up the phone. We'll give him a second to collect himself. But let me see. Derpy 501st chimes in. They say, fellas, I'm going to go cry and watch Mask of the Phantasm. Dude, I was watching that earlier today. I got about 15, 20 minutes into it. I got to the part where it was after he meets Andrea, and it's after he goes to the grave and says, I thought things were going to be different now, but I didn't count on being happy. He's like begging his parents. He's like, let me out of this commitment because I never thought I would ever be happy. You know what I mean? So if you haven't seen that movie, it is streaming on HBO Max, which, by the way, hashtag is not a sponsor. Okay, let me just make that perfectly clear. But if you've never seen the movie, watch that movie. It's 75 minutes of pure gold, at least in my opinion. Oh, it totally is. I have a story about that I will wait, and when it's my turn to share.
As we're anxiously awaiting the return of the one called Eli, he's having a bit of technical snafus right now. So, Tyler, we'll go back to him when we can. But Tyler, any stories for you when it comes to Conroy?
Okay. Well, like I said, I showed you my animated series figure that survived all the yard sales my mom.
That's a lot of yard sales.
Oh, dude, you have no idea.
We
could do a whole podcast on the stuff my mom sold.
Really? Wow. Maybe we should do that next time I see you.
So of course, Batman the animated series. I don't remember the first time I watched it. It's just one of those things that I just have the consciousness of always watching as a kid, and it was the one cartoon that would come on. There were two cartoons that would come on that my dad would watch with me. Yeah. Batman the animated series and Gargoyles.
Ooh.
So when
Speaking of darkness.
So when Mask of the Phantasm first hit theaters, my dad took us. We went. We were one of those few people
that saw it in actual
theaters. Now whole history with the animated series. Kevin's voice in the back of your head and everything when you read comics. Let's jump to September of this year. For Batman Day, I took my kids to see Mask of the Phantasm on the big screen.
Ooh.
And man, I can't tell you how, first of all, just amazing it was to watch it again on the big screen as an adult, but also to watch my kids' faces when the Phantasm was revealed to be Andrea. Like they were generally excited and surprised and just like what, and blown away. So I had that experience in September for Batman Day. Now, go back a little bit. I went to and had a panel at Cincinnati Comic Expo, which did a big Batman Animated Series reunion.
Ooh.
And Kevin was going to be there, Lauren Lester, of course, John Glover, and her name evades me, who did Poison Ivy, was part of it. And Richard Mall was supposed to be, but he wasn't able to. At the last minute, Kevin backed out for health.
Oh.
And I was like, dang it, because that he was on my to meet list and everything. Well, 3 days ago now, my friend and I I'm doing a panel in Columbus, Ohio for GalaxyCon.
Oh, GalaxyCon.
And Kevin was going to be there. And my friend and I were talking about times to go and who are people we wanted to see. Number one was Kevin for both of us. So this year I would have had two close encounters with getting a chance to meet him. And, yesterday when I came home and my wife came home, she has a really cool Batman Animated Series t-shirt and hoodie that I bought her. So she put that on. But the eeriest thing that's kind of happened recently was Thursday night, my daughter came in. She's like, I want to pick out your shirt for work on Friday. Well, Friday's casual day and I can get away with anything. I'll just whatever. So she picks out this one Batman t-shirt that I have. It's just the symbol broken in 4 parts by like 4 different villains. I was like, I can wear that. I'll just throw a cardigan over it, And I just thought that was interesting that the day that this happens, I'm already wearing a Batman shirt at work where I normally wouldn't have one on. So that's been like the recent just moments, this year with that. And then when my son found out about it, so we've been playing Injustice today, and part of playing it is one of us always had to be Batman. So one of us would just use the automatic selector, and the other one we go back and forth to being Batman as a way of just kind of continually just kind of honoring the different steps. Of course, yesterday I watched trying to figure out what to watch, and my friend came over and we watched Beware the Gray Ghost. That was the episode we kind of selected as our one to watch. I know friend of mine, he watched with his family. They did Christmas with the Joker because his kids were getting on a big holiday kick now. So, that's kind of been our part of our kind of just like honoring tribute of just, the different facets that he has brought to from the character. There's earlier today, I recorded a little blip, and all I did was I ran down his Batman-ography. So like all the films, all the comics,
video games,
all the video games, and I think he's even done a couple audiobooks. I was something like, because I think that at one point there was a reading they did for The Killing Joke as an audiobook. I have to figure out if that was true or not. But it's just, so that's been kind of like just this recently. But Eli's back.
Yeah, Eli, you're back from being tangled up in like 6 different realms. You got caught in the Matrix, dude. What happened?
I had to beat Agent Smith. But,
yeah, there you go, Agent Miss. What is it? What was?
I guess the best.
Yeah, what was the character's name again? Oh, Mr. Anderson. Anyway, so Eli, you and Tyler, thank you for sharing that with us. We can get more into that a little bit later. But Eli, before your got caught up in the Matrix situation occurred, you were talking about that. You showed us the statue. Kevin signed it. You met up with him. People are people. You got into that. Was there anything that you needed to mention before you?
Yeah, definitely.
What was the last thing you needed to mention before you got cut off?
I was saying that I only expected really to get a signature and a thank you. Usually it happens a lot. He was actually 2 hours late too, so I was like the fifth person online, but I waited. I didn't mind. There was like a couple hundred people behind us. He was running late. He got there and he goes, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." You know, it was like in his voice, and everybody's everyone's going nuts. I got goosebumps just now. And it was my turn. And like I said, I showed him the statue, and he was saying it was like, "Yo, this is beautiful." And we started talking, and he saw, because I got to work, I had my fireman shirt. And he was like, "Oh," he goes, "You're a firefighter?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "That's awesome." And he's like, "My grandfather was a fireman, and his grandfather got hurt on the job, and a ceiling fell on him. But thank God, you know, he survived. But he couldn't really work too much anymore. And he had a nephew that was going to be a fireman. And I told him too, because I told him, thank you for being a part of my childhood. Like, I have a ritual where, if now, especially, probably started with Kevin, when I go to conventions, when I, you know, sell my art, I try to go to each actor or voice actor and give them one of my paintings as a thank you for our childhood. It's like a thank you from all of us, you know. And I always get, like, you know, love and hugs and thank you. And, you know, so I told him, I said, thank you for being part of our childhood, because in a way, like, I'm like, in a way, Batman was a character that never gave up. He was tough. He was, you know, he kind of put me on my way maybe to be a fireman, and because I always wanted to help people. Me and my brothers always help people. You know, we got the old lady across the street. You know, you could go to our street right now and they'll remember me and my brothers, you know. And I told him, thank you for that. And for, you know, kind of say, I always say cartoons and comics saved my life. I could have been a problem child, you know. That was my go-to. That was my sanctuary. That was my, you know, my heaven kind of. And it's crazy how I use that to teach now. So I told him that, and he goes, "You're a teacher?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "My sister's a teacher." I'm like, I'm an art teacher. He goes, "She's an art teacher." I was like, "We're talking for 10 minutes." It was amazing. Like, we're going back and forth, and I'm not gonna lie, I think it hit me halfway through. I'm like, I am talking to the voice of Batman. I'm talking to someone that was connected to my childhood, and it was an amazing, like, I don't know, I can't describe how it made me feel. Like, I felt like that 12-year-old boy that was watching the show was like alive and kicking. He always is. I mean, look at my shirt and the toys and all that. But at the at the same time, in here, I felt that, like, that happiness. And even when I walked by, my friend saw my friend down the way. He told me something crazy, but he was like, you look glowy." And it was a pleasure and an honor to meet him in person, you know. And I wasn't really expecting anything other than a thank you and, you know, thanks for watching the show, and that's it. But he was such a sweetheart. And from what I noticed, because I put a eulogy on TikTok yesterday, so many people had so many memories. One guy, I'll share one story with you. One gentleman said he was in a wheelchair and he felt like giving up. I don't know what, I didn't go into like detail on why, but he said that Kevin kind of told him, "Don't give up." You know, he said he saw him like 4 years ago. It was probably when Kevin first got sick, when he found out, I guess. And he said he kind of gave him a reason. This is after the show. And I don't know if, like, I'm sure he knew how much he was loved. Like, New York has the bat signal up now, and like, he so iconic and such, but it's not much as Batman, it's who that man was. You know, and how he impacted people, not just with his voice, with his actions, with his kindness, with the way he treated other people. You know, and the way he treated me was like, my brother complains about the blood put on Matt, but like, the day he saw him, Kevin was a little tired, but you figure he was talking to a million freaking people. I was blessed. I got there early and got a chance to see him. Like, it was all coffeeed up, you know. So.
Well, one of the first 5 people in line. Can't go wrong with that. Well, that's some really good stuff, man. That's incredible. Once again, we are celebrating all things Kevin Conroy, paying tribute to the man, the myth, the legend, I'm Batman, the Batman himself. And if you have any memories, any thoughts about any of this, anything Kevin Conroy related, if you have a story about meeting him, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Make sure you like and share this video with all 200 of your closest friends. Once again, thank you to our panelists, Eli, Tyler's here. We got more people who are going to be chiming in here momentarily. But with that being said, I want to turn things over to Derpy501st. Has amazing comments here. He says, "Sad part is I made storyboards for this new DC Studios that Kevin Conroy would have appeared with just in his normal voice at the end of the Batman solo film, and did a modern like Batman 60s show cliffhanger sort of thing for this project that he was working on." Derpy501st was. And then he goes on to say, Kevin Conroy would have said, will Barbara Gordon find out who the dynamic duo is? I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Will Dick Grayson leave Batman? Tune into the new DC film universe. Same bad time, same bad channel, or same bad universe, but now unfortunately cannot happen. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that, Derby 501st. That would have been killer. Do not get me wrong here. Goodness gracious. Let's see here. Funny thing here. Want to know the worst part most Marvel movie fans and Twitter probably doesn't even know about? Who Kevin Conroy was, because they didn't grow up on that era of animation at the time of DC. Well, some people did, some people didn't. Everything's different. Everyone has different introductions to certain characters. And by the way, Skylar Productions, Willow. Hey everyone, Willow. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yay.
Feel free to Willow, we love you. By the way, Willow, if you want to chime in here a little bit later on, feel free after you're done eating supper up in Canada. So Willow's here, Derby 501st is here. Man, some amazing stories, amazing comments. That is crazy. That is something. And here's my thing. As far as Kevin Conroy goes, my experience was I went to when it was known as Wizard World Comic Con at the time, and this was in Philadelphia.
Wizard World.
I know, Tyler. We know. There's been some bad stories about formerly known as Wizard World. Now it's owned by Fan Expo. Hey, Fan Expo, you run a great show in Philly back in April earlier this year. I loved it.
I was there.
Anyway, it's funny. Eli and were at the same show and the same weekend, but we didn't know each other we didn't know each other. We didn't bump into each other at that point. And then when I realized, I was like, dude, if I had known where your booth was, we had known each other a little bit more, I would have definitely visited you at your booth, hypothetically, but I couldn't. But anyway, so Kevin Conroy, I met him at Wizard World Philadelphia Comic-Con in the city of brotherly love. It's always sunny in Philadelphia. And this was in 2015. So I go over there with my friend Spencer. Spencer and I go to this Comic-Con. We meet some people. We see some of the cosplayers. We're getting some pictures taken with the cosplayers, et cetera, et cetera. And I go over to Kevin Conroy's booth. His line was a little long, but it wasn't like, 6 feet. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like 3,000 people deep. You know what I'm saying? So I got in line, went up to his booth, met up with him. He signed an 8x10 that he had at his booth of him from the show. It says, to Ryan, I am Batman, Kevin Conroy, so on and so forth. And he talked to me for like a good 5 minutes. He said, Kevin Conroy, it is so nice to meet you. Listen, I was just watching Mask of the Phantasm last week. Dude, I still, to this day, such a really good film, man. I love it. It's one of my favorite films. It's like, really? And then Kevin looks at me, he's like, it's my favorite too. Kevin's like goofing around and whatnot. I was like, okay, all right, I like your jokes. You got some jokes, I like it. But yeah, he was really nice. He was a people person. He took the time to meet and listen to every word I had to say to him. We talked for like a decent 4 or 5 minutes. It wasn't that long, but it was a good conversation. Tell him about how much I like the movie, how much, he did a great job with the series and the movie, et cetera, et cetera. And to that extent, we also got what is known as, what do they call these things these days? Selfies. So here's the picture of myself and Kevin Conroy at his booth, Wizard World Philadelphia 2015. I'm never going to forget it. So I'm wearing that same shirt tonight right here. And the necklace that's around my neck, I got from a vendor at another convention. He had different super heroic symbols on their necklaces. So he had the Superman shield. The one I was wearing, I think at the time, was either the S shield. Tyler, I know you love that. Or it was the Batman shield. It was one or the other. I can't remember. I think it may have been the Superman shield just because I wanted to compliment, World's Finest. But plus, between you and me, Eli, listen, I will always love Batman, no question. Batman just ever so slightly. That's why Tyler and I are BFFs. Yeah. But that is Kevin Conroy and I. Great guy, great human being. Wonderful interaction with him at the Comic-Con. This was in Wizard World Philadelphia in 2015, 7 years ago. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it was a great experience. It was a great time. So my hat's off to Kevin Conroy. Everything he did. As far as certain memories of him. Whether it's watching the early episodes of the show, I bought them on VHS. It was called Batman, the Animated Series, The Legend Begins, where they put out the first 5 episodes on a VHS tape and a DVD. If anyone remembers that, let me know in the comments. And yes, I still have the DVD. Okay, fellas?
Hey,
still have the DVD.
Point of order here.
Yeah.
When it comes to Batman, the Animated Series, I prefer watching it on the DVD.
Okay.
My friend and I were having this discussion.
Were you?
Because the DVDs are standard definition.
They are.
And they now have the Blu-rays, but the show was not produced to be high definition.
And it
was drawn on dark paper.
Yeah.
Like it was made to be a darker. And then when you try to high res that stuff, it doesn't
translate well, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't look as great. I think the standard definition actually looks better than the high res when watching the show.
I mean, I still have the DVD, and and here's another thing about Kevin Conroy, and it's unfortunate I never got a chance to show him some of these things, maybe have him sign them. I'm not sure. I have Batman the Animated Series, The Riddler VHS tape that contains 2 episodes featuring John Glover's The Riddler, so I still have that.
I remember all those.
Yeah, no, we'll get into it. Trust me, we will.
If you look right here, if you have a sharp eye, right here on the side of, if you look right here in my pictures, you can't see my mouse, but where the big Superman symbol is, if you go over, there's my Batman the Animated Series DVD sets.
Right, I see them.
Oh, okay, I see him. Yeah, I see him. We see him in the corner there, though.
And the character in the middle. Yep.
Yeah, Eli and I can see him in the back corner there. But anyway, as I was saying, I have Batman the Animated Series, the what is it, the Riddler episode or Riddler VHS tape themed, and then I also have, I think I may have the Joker one. I think I have the Joker one. I have a few others as well. I have Batman Fire and Ice, which is a Mr. Freeze, 2 Mr. Freeze centric episodes. So yeah, those are some of the things that I still have. Those are some of the things that I still, take very seriously because those are nostalgia. Those are collector's items, in my opinion, whether he's alive or not. But my interaction with Kevin was great. Some of my memories are watching the early episodes. Some of my memories are definitely watching Matt. Dude, the Mask of the Phantasm reveal of who the Phantasm actually was, that was great. That was one of the best reveals ever. And the way Mark Hamill is in Arthur's office, and he just, you know what I mean? Like he's just toying with him, he's messing with, and then he grabs him by the collar, throws him on the desk. I know I'm giving away lots of spoilers if we haven't seen this movie. It's a 30-year-old movie, so you might want to check it out.
I think we're okay.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, spoilers if you haven't seen this, even though you should have, because it's been sitting on streaming services for years. So he puts him on. It makes you want to laugh, doesn't it, Arthur? And it's just, ooh, it's so evil. It's so sadistic and conniving. Even though this isn't Kevin Conroy, quote unquote, centric. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill complement each other so well, in my opinion. So those are some of the memories that come to mind. If anyone else has any thoughts on this, Willow Skylar, says that Mask of the Phantasm is specifically the best movie within Batman the Animated Series itself. Yes, it is, because there is no other one that tops it. Listen, I love Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, but I don't think anything's going to top Mask of the Phantasm anytime soon.
I think it's Mask of the Phantasm and then Return of the Joker, then Sub-Zero.
Return of the Joker's a good one, too.
Then Mystery of Batwoman.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. I should go back and rewatch that.
We just rewatched them all after we saw Mask of the Phantasm. The kids wanted to, so like over September and into October, we rewatched them all because the kids were really interested in it. I was going to say, the one thing I think it's really interesting about Kevin voicing so many iterations of Batman,
it's crazy,
is it never felt wrong.
No,
like I'm not going to point out what, but like every now and then there'll be a project in animation where you'll have someone voicing, say, Batman or Superman, because kind of I've seen this in both. But then just the film that they're in or the version that they're voicing doesn't fit perfectly. You're just like, it just kind of doesn't. But every project that Kevin was Batman in, it worked.
And he enjoyed it. He enjoyed doing it. Like
it just from looking at the image of the Arkham games to looking at the animated series to Justice League Action to the video games, everything, it worked. And there's I think one thing I always kind of felt a little sad for is like he did such a great job with Batman animated series. Then when they got into the Gotham Knights or New Gotham Adventures, whatever it was called, he kind of just had one voice.
Yeah,
now, it made sense in Justice League because he was always Batman, never Bruce Wayne. And then in Batman Beyond, he was pretty much always just Bruce Wayne. Like what I'm saying, in the Batcave, like he just had one voice. He didn't. And then there was like slight alterations when he would go, like the voice he uses when he meets, say, Terry's mom in the pilot. And everything, but mainly it was like just kind of this one voice because of where he was all the time, being mainly in the Batcave. But I always felt they cheated him as a performer when they did the Gotham Knights because they just kind of used the same Batman Bruce Wayne voice if he had the suit on or off, compared to that was one thing that really made him stand out in the animated series was the two voices, the different ways of doing it, the head voice and the low voice. And I don't know if either of you remember back when there was this great podcast that didn't suck called Fat Man on Batman. You know,
Yes. Kevin
when it was a great show and not whatever it is now.
Yeah.
One of the earliest episodes is Kevin Conroy talking, and I remember driving and listening to this and getting excited when he talked about being at Juilliard with Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
And rooming with him for a little while.
I didn't know that.
And to think, like, no matter how you feel about the characters, I would say those two people put the biggest stamp.
Oh yeah, they did.
On those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
That's a
he was
fair
talking
point.
about, and I'm just like, wow, at one point you had
Batman
and Superman together. And
dude, that would have been
I would have
liked to have seen that, whether it be live action or otherwise. Like, I would have liked to have seen Reeve and Conroy in the same shot. I would have loved that.
For anyone, you know, there's a great podcast, Comic Book Central. I know Joe, who runs it. He right now is working on posting all the links he did over his 9 years of podcasting. He's done 4 interviews with Kevin at different times. So if anyone just wants to kind of hear a good interview podcast with Kevin Conroy, that's a great one. Because that old Fat Man on Batman, I don't even think you can find it anymore because they've changed formats for that show so many times. Of course, there's tons of interviews. Like there's a great I posted today, Michael Rosenbaum's Inside You podcast.
Inside of You.
Yeah. With Kevin. So I mean, just great. You know, and I sometimes forget, like when Rosenbaum was talking that he was the Flash on Justice League. Like,
yeah. And did you see? And this is another thing. And lots of people have been doing this over the last few hours, the last few days since we heard the news. Unfortunately, that Kevin Conroy passed away at the age of 66. Rosenbaum brought up some really touching tributes on his social media this week on Instagram and Twitter, and all the memories of him being in the booth with Kevin and working with him on JLU, Justice League Unlimited, all that stuff. It's like and it's funny though, because Mark Hamill plays Luke Skywalker, then he plays the Joker. Rosenbaum plays Lex Luthor, and then he plays the Flash. So the way that these actors can play these different, I mean, I know that's what an actor was supposed to do, right? Play different types of characters. Yeah. But the fact that some of these other people did this, it's mind-boggling to me. And not only that, before I bring up these comments by Derpy501, another panelist is here in the studio. Please welcome one half of Phoenix Sisters Cosplay. Wait a minute, that's not DC, that's Marvel. Get out of here. Please welcome Kelly Gettner of Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, which is hashtag not a DC property. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Yeah, forgive me for my name.
I'm really bummed that I was taking care of my kids and didn't get to change my shirt, so I don't have a Batman shirt on. I feel really bad.
Oh, and Kelly and Ryan and Eli do.
I have a tattoo. Do you have a tattoo?
Well, he does have a tattoo on his arm.
Oh,
no,
I got a Batman tattoo. I win.
Kelly's like, no, I haven't added the Batman tattoo to my to-do list yet.
Not yet. I have a Black Canary tattoo, so Gotham.
Hey, she's got some Gotham flavor there.
Give me a Batman shirt. Sorry.
Tell your producers to get you one in the backstage area. But anyway, so these comments, I want to bring these up real quick, and I'm going to turn things over to Kelly from Phoenix Sisters. Once again, Kelly, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you who may be watching or listening to this right now. Make sure you like and share this video with all of your friends. We are celebrating the greatness that is, was, and forever will be Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman in many different iterations of the character. Hey, someone tossed over a shirt in the production studio.
That's my wife.
That's my wife.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And this is the one my daughter picked out for me.
Let me see that. Put it up here. Put it up here.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Look at that shirt, Kelly.
Freeze, Joker, Two-Face, and Ivy.
I love it. Oh
Look
my
at
gosh,
that shirt.
That's gorgeous.
Look at that shirt. Beautiful. Anyway, enough about Tyler. Get him out of here. So here's the deal. Some people brought up comments in the chat, and they said that Derpy501 says, "Beware of the Gray Ghost" is actually my favorite episode because it is indeed a legacy episode, passing the torch from one Batman to another, Adam West. Or Batman, as one person would say. And then Skylar says, I will have to listen to those podcasts that Tyler mentioned a few moments ago here in the show. So that's what Willow is referring. I keep saying Skylar. Why am I saying? It's Willow, even though her last name is Skylar. But whatever, get out of here. Willow also says, I don't have any tattoos yet, but I do have a Phantasm cosplay.
Yes, she does.
Yes.
It's sweet.
She does.
It's awesome.
I asked her to send me a picture of it again because I couldn't find the one she had sent before after we saw the movie, because both my kids were just so obsessed with it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, my friend, she did the cosplay. They were both like, oh. So I had her send me a picture to show them because they were both ecstatic of they were just taking it all in.
Isn't that just wonderful? It's great, isn't it? Passing the torch on to the kids. Speaking of kids, Kelly, first of all, thank you for being with us. Second of all, do you have any memories specifically featuring Kevin Conroy, whether it's meeting him or certain moments from the show or different iterations of the character that stand out to you?
So unfortunately, I never got to meet him, and that was on my bucket list. So I'm sad. But I do have some really fun memories of the show. And I also have a memory. So in 2020, obviously everything was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the very first time I hosted a virtual convention to replace the Superman celebration, not actually replacing it, but to take the place of it and give my Superman friends something to enjoy. And one of my friends surprised us, who helped me plan it, surprised us with a cameo. If you all know the site Cameo, where you purchase videos from celebrities, he purchased a cameo from Kevin Conroy. So Kevin Conroy made a video for us. It was a very sweet, very uplifting video. It was really nice. And everything I've ever read about him is just, he seems like a really nice, really down to earth guy. It seems like he was a really good guy, and just, I'm super happy that, as sad as I am that we lost him, he left such a legacy that in a lot of ways he's going to live on forever. And I know that sounds cheesy, but he's going to live on forever. His mark on Batman and on the fandom will live on forever. And the fact that he was such a decent guy, all those stories, everyone that he got to meet, those stories will continue to live on. But my memories of Batman, the animated series, it was formative to my geek years. So I've talked about, I've talked about how She-Ra was formative in one little mini-sode for Back of the Cereal Box. I've talked a lot about, so She-Ra was my very, very first experience with anything when I was like 5 years old. She-Ra was it. And then I've talked about, of course, X-Men, the animated series. Yes.
Which just turned 30 a few weeks ago.
I know. And you had an episode this morning.
I did.
Back of the Cereal Box.
And it's called Memorex. It was pre-recorded. Spoiler alert. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we did celebrate the 30th anniversary of Sorry, I got the theme song in my head now. Thanks, Kelly. I blame you.
You know what? I will take that blame because it's an awesome theme song.
Can I just say real quick, we're talking about the theme song? I didn't realize it was written by Haim Saban.
Dude, the same guy who did Power Rangers. Come on, man.
I didn't know that either. Thank you.
Same guy who did Power Rangers.
Yeah, wait. Hold on. Yeah, he wrote it? Or
no, Ron Wasserman.
Ron Wasserman broke it, but Saban produced it too before they did.
Saban was one of the co-producers. Yeah.
Saban did the theme song for the Turtles. That's what it was. For the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, Saban did that song and Inspector Gadget. But it was Wasserman.
Gadget?
It was Wasserman who did X-Men because I love Wasserman's music for Power Rangers. That's a whole podcast right there. But you guys were talking about the X-Men theme song, and I was just like, oh, I learned something cool.
Tyler's got more ideas for new shows or other podcasts that Kelly, myself, maybe even Eli's going to jump in on later on. Who knows? I don't know. We bring him in on the circle.
I do constantly.
Yeah, that's what Tyler's good at. He's good at just spitting out weird ideas that no one cares about except Kelly, myself, and maybe Eli. But as we're going through the weird brain, the twisted mind of Tyler from #Krypton Report on Twitter, Kelly, any other memories of the animated series stand out to you? Any favorite episodes or moments?
So Batman was just formative to me. So I remember. This one is one that doesn't get talked about a lot, but one episode that really stands out is there was the Mad Hatter episode. Do you all remember that one?
Perchance to Dream?
Vaguely.
Yeah. I don't know why that stands out, but I just loved that episode when I was younger. And that one, I feel like that was one of the earliest Batman episodes I ever saw. And I was just sucked in. I was like, ooh, this is a different version of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, it was a twisted take on Alice in Wonderland in the Batman universe.
They
went into stalking in that one. That guy was a stalker.
Yes. It was so creepy.
Really?
Alice,
creepy.
He was a what now? He was a stalker?
He was a
or what was he?
The girl was nice to him, and then sorry, I'll let her say. Go ahead.
Okay.
That's basically, he was a stalker. He was so creepy. And then it was also, you had just like,
It's a little
what I
weird.
really love about the series is that Batman was a detective. He really used his brain
Oh, for sure.
and
Used his little gadgets to figure out clues, you know?
and that has not been seen enough in any live action before or since. And
I mean, they've attempted it.
they've
you know?
attempted it, but they have not managed.
I mean, they sort of kind of did it in the Pattinson movie that came out this year, but you know.
Did you guys go over favorite episodes already when I went into the Matrix?
No.
No, we didn't
I
go into
just
favorite
talked.
episodes yet.
Okay.
And Tyler was going to his producer and over there in the corner saying, "Honey, toss me a shirt."
I just yelled it jokingly, and she popped in. She actually heard me and threw it at
Oh,
me.
for real? She heard you like 2 seconds. He's like, "Yeah, throw me a shirt, honey."
I'll let you all go. Let's go around and talk favorite episodes. So
Yeah, before Eli gets caught up in the Matrix again, and real quick though, I do want to bring this up. If you have any favorite memories, any favorite episodes, any favorite types of iterations of the character, whether it's through the video games, some of the other things that Kevin Conroy has participated in, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. I want to hear from each and every single one of you. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, I want to say thank you for being with us, guys. We cannot do this without you, but yeah, let's go. That's a great round table. See, this is why we bring Kelly on here. We pay her the big bucks for these questions. So Eli, yeah, not so much Tyler. Tyler, I still love you though. So
Making it
Eli,
rain.
I know, right? This is what happens when you're in a weird circle of twisted friends like Tyler, myself, and Kelly. Eli, favorite episodes of Batman TAS or something that he did after that? Go.
Favorite episode. Now, I remember
go
this
for it.
vividly.
No
During the
rules.
week, there was an episode of Almost Got Him.
Oh
That-
yeah, when all the villains go around the table.
To this day, I watch that when I'm pissed off, which is rare now. When, you know, when I was a kid and I had a really bad day at work, at school, or at work, I'd pop in the DVD or the VHS and watch that episode. But the funny thing was, when I saw it when I was really young, remember like the clip show, the way TV shows used to like do episodes cheap? They'll just cut pieces and add
Real
stuff
cheap.
in there. You know, that was a quick way to make an episode. So I remember watching it as a kid, and since I was like watching, you remember how I used to wait 6 months to watch an episode, like a brand new episode. If you missed it, you screwed. I tell my students all the time, y'all don't know what it's like when it wasn't streaming, when you couldn't like, oh, let me pick. It was, oh, I missed that episode, you know. So anyway,
maybe I'll see it one day.
Yep.
Yeah, right. If I'm lucky,
we'll catch it in the summer during the reruns, Kelly.
You'd be watching a show like this, hoping it's the episode you missed, or God forbid you watch a part 2. Like that Superman episode with.
Well, they had tons of two-parters, man.
Or you're checking the TV guide every week.
Does anyone remember TV Guide? Does anyone remember TV Guide? Let us know in the chat. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Does anyone still Does anyone have like their old like collectible ones that they had, or some of the ones that had Batman on the cover? I don't know.
Just one. An animation.
Someone does.
With Bullwinkle and Rocky, but the Bullwinkle but the episode Almost Got Him had clips in it. So as a kid, I remember looking for those clips. The best part about that, which I'm actually happy it wasn't a clip show.
Right.
Every episode, every part when Joker talked about his at the end, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But first was what Poison Ivy with the exploding pumpkins, you know? And I was looking for the episode. There was none. And Poison Ivy wore that black little number 2. You know, remember that? And I was like, as a kid, I was like, okay, that's cool. And it like they were all sitting down at the
poker table.
Clock. You had Penguin, you had Joker, Two-Face, and Ivy, and all sitting at the table. And Croc is the idiot, obviously. He's like, you know, making noises. And remember, the best line that everybody remembers, everyone's telling their story. So you had the exploding pumpkins. You Almost Got Him. You had Two-Face with the Batman was tied to the giant penny. Remember? Now, do you remember when those two guys were running?
Yeah.
And the penny goes boom. And it bounces off the two big guys running. They had to be dead. I'm just saying. As a kid, I was like,
yep.
Even though they were like muscle bound, I mean, if I had a big penny, I'm done.
There may have been some death scenes in this show, but we didn't realize it because we were kids. We didn't pay much attention to that.
Maybe because I'm sick in the head.
I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I was only 6 years old. I don't remember.
I was like, as a kid, I was like, I looked at my brothers like, they're dead, right? They didn't
people
get
just
up.
died, right?
Right.
And the noise, boom, watch it again. HBO Max or streaming or whatever you got.
Streaming services, yeah.
His DVDs in the back, ask him to borrow Tyler's.
Yeah, we'll call Tyler and say, yo, can you ship us your DVDs for a few weeks?
And then you had the Penguin episode with that bird, the Cassillary, whatever, that ugly bird. So then the best part when Croc was saying, like, it's my turn. And they're like, all right. And then he's like, there he was. Batman was getting closer and closer. And they're like, and I threw a rock at him. He just had like this look like, you stupid. Like the whole pan, like you see all their faces, and he's like, it was a big rock, you know, like he like that scene made everybody crack up to this day.
Threw him a big rock, you know.
And then finally, when Joker pretty much called everybody, you know, he goes, there's always all sorts of ways to get someone. And he was saying how he got Catwoman. And think about it like this, right? You had Batman on a what do you call it? Electric chair, right? Mm-hmm. On a kid show.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time, like, he pumped the whole room of laughing gas, and then it was ran by the laughing gas. The poor Batman's going, oh, and you're watching him get electrocuted on a kid show. This is why I was loving it as a kid. I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is like adult
it's dark
stuff, you know? And then Catwoman comes, saves Batman, obviously, and then she gets captured. But the best part of that episode, and it made no sense, but it was impactful. Like Joker said, so then Killer Croc says, so you just like knocked out Catwoman and left her? And then she goes, no, Crockers, you got to realize there's always a way to get someone. And then he's like, tomorrow Batman's going to get a can of cat food, you know? And then Croc takes Joker by the scruff of his neck.
Yeah.
Throws him across the room. Joker goes crashing in. He goes, was it something I said? And then all of a sudden, the light goes. You remember this scene?
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps. You see Croc.
I was going to say, Eli's giving us a synopsis of a 22-minute episode.
The light goes
he's reenacting the episode.
He's basically reenacting the whole gosh darn thing, which means we're going to be here all night.
Episode. You see literally the shadow of Batman, and that was it. And all of a sudden, the whole time, it was Batman pretending to be Croc at the table.
That was a cool.
Pull the guns on him, and then they're like, "Oh, you're gonna escape? You know how you gonna escape this one?" And Batman's like, "I'm not too bad with traps myself." And then all of a sudden, all the cops pull the guns out, and then Batman saves Catwoman. Harley Quinn gets beaten, and wow, like to this day, that episode still like gets me, as you can see.
I was gonna say, I think your favorite episode is Almost Got Him.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm gonna watch it I'm gonna watch it right after this.
Of course you are. We're all gonna go to our streaming services. We're gonna binge watch 30 episodes at 2 a.m, and Tyler's gonna be texting me like, "Yo, what episode are you on, man?"
I try to watch Batman the Animated Series every year from beginning to end.
Like, well, bless your heart, Eli.
I try to watch it every year. Those two shows.
Well, I've just been handed a note here from one of our very big fans, and I'm going to show this up here on the big screen. So Willow dressed up as the Phantasm. So here's her cosplay, if you can see that. I know the glare's getting to you.
Yes.
But there's her costume right there in the flesh. That is it. Willow sent that to me in the back channel or in the backstage area. It's by the way, it's also called Messenger. And that was awesome sauce. And by the way, Krypton Report, I don't know how they got into the chat, but they said Ryan is awesome. Eli's just passionate. Kelly is amazing for just everything. And I love them so much. And I'm also messaging other people too. So apparently someone's multitasking on this panel. Nice work there.
I love it.
Tyler. By the way, Willow says that was my favorite episode too. Almost got him. So Eli, you have a fan.
Yeah.
In Willow. So
I just want to like produce a reenactment like video of just Eli playing every character like at the table, like just just reenacting
pretty much the whole gosh
I know
thing. And you're going to be able to have access to this, Tyler, on replay, so you can strip it and then put it on your TikTok.
We just got to cut it. Like, we got to put in makeup for each character.
You want to know what's funny though? On a more serious note, Kevin Conroy wrote a comic book about on DC Pride. It was about, I guess, him being Batman. And I was thinking of taking that comic, taking photo shots, and actually reading it for the for TikTok and Instagram. Like, I have posts on everything, but
go ahead, man.
Say that, yeah.
That would be.
I know Tyler's going to be watching that.
Yeah, so like obviously I'll try to do my best Kevin Conroy, but I think I can't do like the Bruce Wayne. I can do Batman a little bit. Like remember Injustice? Stay down. Beat the hell out of somebody.
Wow. Okay, Tyler, you've had way too much caffeine, man. You need to cut down the caffeine there, baby. But Willow chimes in. She says, "I still have the comic as well as the figurines of Harley Quinn and Joker, which is based on the Mad Love episode that took place within the series. If memory serves. So there you go. Interesting.
That was one of those episodes that showed the codependency, Harley Quinn. You guys remember the end of that? That was heartbreaking. I remember watching that on Saturday, and like my heart broke for Harley Quinn because she went back to him after he threw her out of the window.
Yeah.
Like I was like, as a kid, I was like, damn. Like,
it's funny
that's horrible.
Yeah, it's funny the way that this series, and specifically with Kevin Conroy being involved in this, Batman the Animated Series got away with a lot of dark stuff for a kid's show. I mean, this show went 7 levels of deep darkness, and I'm thinking to myself, you look back on this, I'm thinking, why? I'm surprised my parents let me watch this because like,
it was
my parents stopped me for years. I had
it was so good, but it was ahead of its time in certain ways too.
Well, Jania's parents wouldn't let her watch it when she was a kid, but my parents did.
I was referring to the love of his life, his wife, by the way.
Yes, my mistake.
Yeah, who are you referring to?
My backstage.
Superman.
We did that costume a couple of times for Halloween. We had but yeah, my like I said, my dad watched it with us, and I think it was, part of it was as a kid, it operates on so many levels because
it does.
You watch it as an adult, you're getting a message. You watch it as a kid, you're getting the message, and sometimes it's the same message, it's just presented differently. And it makes it great for us who grew up with it to go back and when we revisit it to get more out of it, and to really, like there's certain episodes that as an adult resonate a lot more than they did as a kid because maybe they didn't have the flashiest villain or like a big name villain, but the context of the episode itself really had a powerful message inside of it. So
yeah, which actually brings up my next question, and then we'll turn things over to Tyler, because clearly Eli's had too much caffeine today. So Tyler, without reenacting the whole 30-minute episode and keeping us here for another 6 hours, what were some of your favorite? No offense, Eli. What are some of your favorite episodes? What are some of your favorite episodes that stand out to you?
Well, I was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, my favorite episode of the animated series actually is Robin's Reckoning.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I just think that's such a powerful. But I just remember I love the part in that where it's Bruce Wayne who has I think the best moments, and I love the performance in that episode for when he just the line where he tells Commissioner, "I think I can help," and then he has the moment with Dick where they're talking and they're looking at Bruce's parents, and Bruce is talking about, sometimes you think that you could have done something different. And, little Dick was like, your parents too? And then later when you see how angry he is at Zuko, because it reinforces
similar stories.
Just the whole point of like why Batman, took Robin, Dick Grayson in is because part of his plan was so that this would never happen again, but it happened again right in front of him. And he hates Zuko as much as Dick does because he more than anyone understands what Zuko stole from that boy. And I think his deliverance in that is just, it is heavy. There's a heavy heart to it. I was sitting here thinking like, I love that one a lot. Like that's one of my all-time favorites of just period. Of course I love, when he crossed over with Superman in the World's Finest 2-parter. That's
so much fun.
I love it because of the way he plays Bruce Wayne a little bit more playboy and flirt. Yeah. Like, he's digging at
and Clark. Lois Lane is voiced by the same person who voices Andrea Beaumont.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is crazy ironic.
What was the actress's name?
Dana Delaney. Delaney. Which is ironic. She plays Lois Lane for 4 seasons, then she played Andrea Beaumont. It's like, wait a minute.
And if you look at pictures of her in real life, she looks like Lois Lane. Like she could have played a live action Lois.
If you're looking for like the one movie that I knew that I had seen as a kid, a kid. I think I did see it as a kid.
We're all kids.
But like then when I grew up and I realized it was her, was Tombstone.
I love that movie.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't she Wyatt Earp's love interest?
Yes. And I didn't realize, like, I saw the movie and I hadn't put the two together. And then years later, I'm watching the movie with my dad. And I'm like, holy crap.
Lois Lane.
It's Lois Lane.
Cool.
So it was one of those. But, I think too, like, Conroy's deliverance and portrayal, like what is my favorite Batman related project that he did other than the animated series?
Because there's so many of them.
And
so hard to choose.
And I don't know. I mean, honestly,
I don't know. You can always claim, you can always plead the fifth. It's okay. You don't have to testify. Anyway, I will say this, though. I will say this. Someone is bringing up a very hot take in the chat. It's our good friend Matt Kearns. Kearns says, not my favorite Batman still. Have to give it to my boy Keaton, but Kevin Conroy is certainly a legend. I think JLU has some of his best work.
Yes.
Particularly moments between Batman and Wonder Woman.
I mean, we got the Am I Blue? We have the iconic scene of him sitting with Ace.
Diana's a remarkable
for
woman.
her last moment.
She's a valued friend. She's standing right behind me, isn't she?
I'm just a rich kid with issues.
Yeah.
And then he says, number one, dating someone you work with always leads to disaster. Second, you're from an island of immortal women or something like that. Like he just goes on this whole spiel about him and Diana Prince not working out, period. And she's just like, all right, you're lost.
And he's like, women I date always get hurt. And she like crushes something. She's like,
I think she crushes like a can or something, or like a brick or something. I can't remember what it was.
I think it was a brick.
I could see why Batman said no. She could have been crushing something else of his. So
well, you know, funny you
Man
bring
of
that
Steel,
up,
women of tissue paper.
Because Willow says not just the dark stuff that was brought up in the show, but the amount of sexual innuendos in the show was plenty.
So much.
You sure you don't want to ride your Harley? That's what I was like. Ooh,
that wasn't even innuendo. That was outright.
Do you think it was, Kelly? Maybe it was. I'm not sure. But Kearns actually says Dana Delaney played Andrea right before she played Lois. That is true. Chronologically, the movie came out in 93. Animated series of Superman came out in 96.
I wonder if that's how she got the role of Lois, actually.
I'm pretty sure it was. Like, if I remember right, there was something they wanted to do more with her, so they decided to do Superman the animated series. They brought her back. The last thing I wanted to say, we're talking about Kevin's performance is I do want to give a note to his live action portrayal of Bruce Wayne
on Crisis.
Yes, because it was just really cool to have. Because everyone says, "Oh, Kevin Conroy is the best Batman," but he's animation. Well, just to put a pin in it, he was like, "I'm gonna do it live action too."
Mm-hmm.
And he did it with Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW Arrowverse crossover.
That was just really awesome to see him, because most Batman fans probably had never seen him do live action roles.
Never.
They always,
never
think of him
been a voice, never a physical person to the name.
So I'm very glad that he was able to do that.
Yeah.
Even though he had to be in a suit, like a specially marked suit, because it was like a really old, grizzled.
Well, I mean, his portrayal Batman was straight out of Kingdom Come mixed with The Dark Knight Returns.
Okay.
Because that type of thing that he's in is very much like what he's in Kingdom Come.
Well, pretty nice work then, producers who made that suit and the appearance for him as well.
And then they pulled it back around too, like I said, tying in elements from The Dark Knight Returns about the fight, and even in that, like his armor has like a suit to it. So it was a nice portrayal of like a darker, because that's probably the darkest version of Batman he's ever portrayed was the live action version.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty wounded, showing his pain, telling you gotta do this, that, and the other.
In that version, he was the one that actually killed Superman on that planet. So it is the darkest version.
How grizzled can you get? By the way, Kearns chimes in. He says, my favorite Batman animated series episodes is Old Wounds. I'm a big Nightwing fan, according to Kearns.
I love Nightwing.
That's a great
one of my best friends is a diehard Nightwing fan. We went to his Halloween party a couple weeks ago. He was dressed up as Nightwing, Kelly. True story. So nice work, Ian. Ian was dressed up as Nightwing, I should say. By the way, Dave Mattingly's here. He says, we never finished that dance. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay. Not sure what episode that was from, but there you go. More power.
The Ride Your Harley was from the New Batman Adventures.
Yeah, Ride Your Harley was from New Batman Adventures.
That was from Justice League Unlimited.
Oh, it was.
And so Bruce and Diana...
That's not even subtext, it's text. Well,
Dave Mattingly says that's not even subtext, that is text.
But I mean, it has to anyway, because her name is Harley, and it might take you a minute to be like, oh yeah, they're talking about her as well as
But okay, so Bruce and Diana is a diplomat for Themyscira, and then Bruce Wayne shows up at this diplomatic event because he's a billionaire, and they start to dance, and then the event gets attacked, as you do. And then when they're in costume, they say that.
Really?
She says that to him, and then he's like, no idea what you're talking about. Because at that point, they're still pretending they don't know each other's secret identity. Well, she doesn't have a secret identity, but he's still pretending no one knows his secret identity, even though, yeah.
That's interesting. And then Dave Mattingly says that was the one time Batman was in the kitchen with the 9/11 responders. Yeah, I heard that story about how he was working with people after the 9/11 attacks, and someone found out that he was Batman. They went nuts. That was, yeah.
Kevin,
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Kelly?
Okay, I need to hear the story. I have not heard this story.
Kevin talked about how he was, working in the kitchen. He was serving, cooking food for all the responders, and someone had said something, and he from the back room did the classic "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman," and just like yelled it, and then the people just erupted in joy.
Went nuts.
And he was like, he talked about, like, you can find it because he's talked about it a lot. Like, just Google it on YouTube, because to watch him tell it is amazing, because he talked about how
on YouTube, yeah.
He stopped and was just humbled by like these people giving him like excitement when he's like, no, like I'm here to serve you. Like,
such a good guy.
And I posted this when it says like we all lost a person who brought us joy through a character, but it seems like the sadder part about, he's gone as Batman, but I think the saddest part about it is there's a lot of people who lost a friend, like a really good friend.
Yeah.
And like just watching people
pouring in on social media,
like all in all, like, we had the experience, like you two had experience of actually getting to meet him.
Yeah. Eli and I did. Yeah.
And, people get to celebrate him, but it just seems like there's that huge gap of just missing a genuine friend.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kelly said, like, and mentioned, like, anyone I've ever talked to or things I've read does not seem like there's ever been anything negative said about him or working.
He was a gentleman.
He
was.
Like one of my favorite interviews I did before, I got to talk with Jason J. Lewis, who did Superman for Justice League Action. Ooh. And he talked about him coming in to voice Superman, and it was early in his career, and going in, and then like you have Kevin and Mark there, and how just like, oh crap, like they're still doing this
30 years later.
I'm the new guy doing this, and he's like, how just wonderful it was to work with Kevin and just welcoming to like everyone coming in to work with him. Mm-hmm. So it was an experience. I have to go. Things are stirring. My Gotham needs me. So.
So the bad signal is up for Tyler. But Tyler, before you leave this wonderful studio, where can the person watching or listening to this follow on social media? What do you got, man?
Just find me at Krypton Report. We're all over social media and podcast. So just find me there, and you'll enjoy it. I promise.
Okay. Well, thanks for being with us, Tyler. Our hats are off.
Ryan,
to you.
thank you.
With us.
Eli, nice chatting with you. Meeting Kelly, care, always a pleasure to see you.
Have a great night, Tyler. Be safe out there. Don't let the villains win, okay? You're Batman after all.
Hey, my wife and I had a joke before Solomon was born. She's like, I should just name the kid Gotham. That way I can be like, in the middle of the night when he's crying, be like, Gotham needs you. And I just be like, just get up. But, yeah.
I love it.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Have a good one, man. We'll talk to you soon. Look forward to having you again on these shows, Tyler. What a nice guy that is, really. Oh, boy. Wish you the best, man, for sure. But anyway, Kearns brings up an interesting point here. He says that the animated series casting director, Andrea Romano, if I remember correctly, actually said that she casted all the voice actors with people who could play them in live action. So it makes sense to see Kevin take on the role of live action at some point or another in the history of his career. And Mattingly chimes in. He says the episode with Ryder Harley was the same episode with her cream pie. Wow, you'll even have to come back for seconds. Anyway,
I don't remember that line, and I think I blocked it out.
Yeah, I think Kelly and everyone else in the studio here just blocked that out. But anyway, so favorite episodes. Let's talk about that for a little bit. So for me, some of my favorite episodes, I got to be honest, it's hard to pick one because I like the ones that you dive deeper into the villain's origin story. For instance, Mr. Freeze.
Oh,
I think anything with Mr. Freeze was fantastic because he has a deep, sad story, and you feel for the guy. Mm-hmm. He may freeze a couple of people. He may kill. I mean, I don't know how many people he killed exactly, but it's like I may have given him the slide because he's going through a lot. He's trying to help his wife.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to. What's his wife's name? Nora? He's trying to help Nora. So the Mr. Freeze episodes were great. I think some of the episodes that featured. I mean, obviously the Phantasm is just pure gold. Yeah, what was her name? Andy, Andrea? Yes, Andrea Beaumont. There was a sweet number. How'd you let her get loose? Thanks for the handkerchief, Arthur. You know where you can stick. Anyway, that was a great way of going around cursing at that guy because that was funny. Anyway, I got to be honest with you. One of my favorite episodes that still creeps me out to this day is The Laughing Fish featuring the Joker.
That's a good one too.
When the Joker's trying to make himself a businessman, he's trying to sell these fish. Does anyone remember this episode?
Oh yes. Don't make me
reenact
it, Brian.
No, don't. Please don't. I'm gonna have nightmares for weeks. Trust me. Even though I'm gonna watch it later tonight on HBO Max, or I may watch it tomorrow because Sunday I don't have anything to do other than laundry day, and then like go into virtual something or other. Anyway, virtual meeting. So what was I saying? The clownfish episode is creepy as you know what. Okay, creepy as all get out. And it's one of my favorite episodes. I don't know why, but it's just great. And Christmas with the Joker, I think, is hilarious.
That one's fantastic.
Hilarious, Kelly. That episode is funny, even though it's scary. Well, it's sort of kind of meant to be scary, but at the same time, it's funny, you know? Even though he's taking, 5 people hostage and he's going to burn them alive or something. I don't know. Anyway, those are my favorites. But Tyler rattled off a lot of episodes that I need to go back.
Yeah,
and rewatch, especially the Robin origin story, the Robin episodes about him and Zuko. I gotta rewatch that, man.
So well done.
I gotta get on that. But anyway, those are some of my favorite memories that stand out to me. I mean, obviously, I think the biggest one is Mask of the Phantasm, being one of the greatest animated movies of all time. Period.
You guys
remember? It's only 75 minutes. You know, you can get a lot done in 75 minutes. Some people think you can't, but you actually can tell a complete story and make a complete film in 75 minutes. It is possible. You know?
You guys remember the episode Over the Edge?
What was that one about?
Can you give us a synopsis without reenacting all 30 minutes of it?
It started out with Batman and Robin being chased in the Batcave by the cops, by Commissioner Bullock. They're shooting at him. Come on, really?
I'm gonna have to look this one up on HBO Max because I have absolutely no recollection of that.
I'm drawing a blank, but
okay, Barbara.
So yeah, you're gonna have to reenact it.
No, please. No.
Hey, ladies first, brother. So anyway, so the episode pretty much started out as Batman and Robin running from the cops. Long story short, Alfred gets arrested by Bullock. They know it's Bruce Wayne. They're like, Bruce Wayne, you're under arrest. So it started out with this whole insanity. I remember watching it on Saturday morning. You remember?
It's a dream sequence, right?
You knew the beautiful thing about that. You knew it was a dream, obviously, right? But the story was so well done.
It was so
and
good.
So impactful. So they're going after Scarecrow, right? So when Batman and Robin disappears, and then Bruce is telling, Dick, it's over, we're done, and then he goes, remembering what happened. Long story short, Barbara gets hit off the roof by Scarecrow. That was a creepy Scarecrow, the one voiced by the Reanimator. Yep. Great movie, by the way. But he hits Barbara with the stick, and Barbara flies off the building. The most effed up part, I don't know if I'm going to say effed up, but the craziest part, you have Commissioner driving with Bullock, and then Barbara's body hits the glass. You have the POV of the dad watching his daughter
horrifying
hit the glass. Then she falls over the top. He gets out, and he doesn't know who she is yet. He pulls off the mask, goes, don't worry, we got you, sweetheart, we got you. He pulls off the mask, and he sees his daughter. And I'm getting goosebumps now. That was a
dark episode. How some of these episodes.
That sounds almost like a fate worse than what she got in The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
Oh, the less we say about that, the better.
No. I'm sorry. Maybe not so much the animated movie, Kelly, but the storyline in general, the
half
comic.
Of that, the first half, we won't go there. But you know what? I don't want to say. It's called
the prologue. It was terrible.
After this, if you guys want to hear, I love this Batman. The animated series Batman is my favorite, above my head. But they actually went into why Robin hated Bruce so much. Because in Old Wounds, Robin punches Batman hard. And I remember watching it as a kid, there had to be more than just that whole thing when Batman was roughing up a bad guy in front of his kid. Well, the Batman Beyond comics, and it was in that horrible movie, Return of the Batwoman. That was so bad. I'm sorry. I hated that movie so much. But they kind of hinted on Barbara and Bruce having a thing.
So gross. I hate that.
So,
hey,
like,
they did it in the prologue for Killing
was
Joke, and I'm like,
hinted,
what the
believe
heck
it
are
or
you
not.
doing? Are you trying to ruin the mythology of this character?
No, there's a mythology. I ain't moving nothing. I'm just telling you the chronological order of things.
No, I hear what you're saying though, Eli. I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look this episode up.
I'm gonna say this now. Bruce Timm has an unhealthy obsession with Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon getting together, and it's gross.
I don't know why.
And my unpopular opinion is that I think the Killing Joke, the comic, is overrated. I'm sorry, Eli. I know I just broke your heart. I've read the comic. Of course, I've read the comic.
But no, I said the original comic's overrated.
The original comic is overrated. I know you want to fight me now. This is my unpopular opinion. This is my hot take.
To each his own, but like that, the comic.
Hey, I got some hot takes of my own. Wait till you see those.
Okay, so I understand the appeal. I understand why people appreciate it.
It was a huge moment for Batman's history at that point.
It was.
At that point.
Technically,
yes.
It was more for the Joker.
I understand why people appreciate it. It was not my cup of tea, and I think it's overrated.
I read that.
I can totally see where you're coming from with that. It's just some things in Batman's universe work, some things just don't. But I will say this though. Willow Schuyler chimes in. She says it was heartwarming to see New York shining the bat symbol on the Empire State Building to pay tribute to Kevin Conroy himself. And then Kearns chimes in. He's got some thoughts on this, Eli. The Man Who Killed Batman's a great one, particularly with Joker's eulogy for Batman at one point. Yeah. I'm going to have to go back and watch these.
I remember that. It's funny.
Mark Hamill's first role in TAS is Heart of Ice before he was even cast as the Joker.
He was cast as Ferris Boyle, the guy who killed Nora.
Yes, a great what-if version, as we were talking about with the dream sequence, I believe is what Kearns is getting at, that Gordon hires Bane to kill Batman at the end. Yes. Whoa. That is some killer stuff, because Bane breaks the Batman's back in the comics with Nightfall.
Thank you! Yeah.
Which, by the way, Kearns says, yeah, I'm not a fan of the whole Bruce Barbara thing. She's better off with Dick Grayson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works. That works.
Because Bruce is her dad's friend. He's known her since she was younger.
She was a baby. Yeah.
Maybe not that long, but still, it's like grooming. It's gross. It's gross.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, listen. If Nightwing and Batgirl got together and got hitched and have kids, that's fine with me. That doesn't bother me at all.
I ship it.
You ship it.
I ship it.
You ship it. You ship it. Okay. Does anyone else ship this relationship? Because now I'm curious. Once again, we are celebrating all things Kevin Conroy, even though we've gone off the rails just a few minuscule times because of Tyler during this episode, maybe because of Kelly. But other than that, if you have any memories of Kevin Conroy, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you like and share this video with all 400 of your closest friends, because you're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to this celebration of the greatness, the memory of Kevin Conroy, who played the legendary character of I'm Batman. You know, Bruce Wayne. Speaking of, here's another thing. Here's a memory for you before I go into favorite episodes. So, a young man by the name of Will Friedle, who portrayed Terry McGinnis, voiced Terry McGinnis on Batman Beyond, who was also very known for something called Boy Meets World, which I'm going through right now on Disney Plus. I know, right? Anyway, so I met Will Friedle at a con, right? So I go out to his booth and say, "What's going on, man? How you doing? I really liked your role in Batman Beyond," which he signed an 8x10 of him as the character of Terry McGinnis. He says, "To Ryan, I'm Batman." And then I said, "Will, you know, it's funny because your co-star Kevin Conroy signed a print to me that says I'm Batman." And then Will says to me, "You know, whenever Kevin and I are at shows together, we're always going to swap saying I'm Batman." And then he'll write, no, I'm Batman. So we'll like mess with each other's prints on and off the table. When people are coming up to our booth, I'll say, "To Sarah, I'm the real Batman." And then Kevin's going to go over to somebody else's booth and say, no, I am the real Batman. So they just mess with each other. They mess with each other when they're at their booths at conventions. I said, "You know what, Will? I hope one day that I would see you and Kevin at a con doing this, because this would be hilarious." Unfortunately, that never came to pass, at least for me anyway. I can't speak for everybody else. But Will told me that story, and that made me realize, wow, that's funny. See, even Kevin knows how to have a good time at these conventions. He knows how to have a good time. So I thought that was kind of funny. So if you have any Will Friedle stories featuring him as Terry McGinnis, let us know in the chat, because he's traded off some interesting little jokes between him and Kevin.
You know, Batman Beyond was like a show that when it first came out, I didn't think I was going to like it, because when they used to do like the extra characters and stuff, like the younger version.
But and a new Batman too.
Bruce Wayne in that, I was maybe 17 when that came out, maybe 18.
I liked 99,
19. I liked Bruce Wayne. Like he was
So
the old man
good.
with
He
the
was a
cane.
mentor, dude. He took no BS. He was like, "This is how it's going to be. If you don't like it, there's the door. Don't let it kick you on the way out."
He was amazing too, and even the way Kevin did the voice, he did a little more grizzled. You know, like it was
Very grizzled. He was like, you need to bring that bat suit back. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh man, when he let Terry get his butt kicked, that was a whoa.
Man.
Welcome to my world.
Exactly. Welcome to my world. Yeah. By the way, Kern says, I agree with Kelly. I ship it. I ship it.
Kearns, you and I need to be friends.
You should. Hey, feel free to friend Kelly Gettner on Facebook, Kern. She's on my friends list. Anyway, Willow Schuyler says that Tim Curry actually did the voice for the Joker first, but he couldn't sustain the voice due to his health, I think, at the time.
I found it on TikTok. He didn't.
Oh, it was on TikTok? I think someone posted
I posted it recently.
Rehearsal footage of him as Joker with Tim. By the way, Tim Curry would have been a fabulous Joker.
I do love Tim Curry.
Like, I mean, who doesn't love Tim Curry? I mean, come on. The guy played Cardinal Richelieu in The Three Musketeers, Kelly.
His voice as Joker, you got to watch it.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't think I posted anything else. Look on YouTube, look up, because they're going to do a documentary. They're probably going to push it out more now that
Kevin probably going to do certain documentaries as well. By the way, Kern says, has anyone redubbed Batman Beyond episodes with Eric Matthews line?
I need to see this now.
Is this on YouTube, Kearns? Do you have a link to this? Can you send it to me in the messenger? Send it to Kelly.
In my life. I need
Can
this
you post
in my
it?
life.
Send it to Kelly Gettner on Facebook. You see on my friends list. Anyway, Kearns says Batman Beyond suit is the one that I would use when I play Arkham City, the video.
Oh, my favorite game. Love that game. Love that game.
The Arkham games are masterpieces. They're good.
Arkham Asylum was like watching a continuation of the original series, and Batman Beyond is just like a sequel to all of it. It's like, this is what happens when you get really old. Joker's being tied up again, being sent to Arkham again, manages to escape, and Batman's got to go 5 million rounds around the rosy just to bring him in. It's ridiculous. And it's Mark Hamill and Conroy voicing the exact same characters, but at the same time. In the video game, when you look at the suits and their faces, you show their age. Like, they show how old they've gotten, and they show them grizzled and beaten. And you're like, how long can we do this dance, Batman? It's just... And by the way, Hamill, the older he gets, the more he does the voice, you can tell that he's digging like into more layers of the Joker voice. He's just digging, you know what I mean? Like, it's creepy, it's eerie, it's devilish, it's ugh, you know, but it's great at the same time. And the problem is, I've only played Arkham Asylum, and then what's the one that came after that? Arkham City?
Arkham City, and then
Arkham City, I played like half of it, and I couldn't beat one level, Kelly, and I rage quit.
Oh, my God, I love Arkham City.
I never got around to it, Kelly. I couldn't beat it.
In Arkham Origins, but they didn't have Kevin in that one.
I didn't play Arkham Origins because, like I said, when I couldn't beat Arkham City, Kelly, I just rage quit that stuff.
That's fair.
I was so done. By the way, Kern says, I love the Batman/Superman crossover movie, which, you know, that was we talked about that a little earlier. Bruce puts the tracker on Superman's cape and follows him to his apartment. And then Clark uses his X-ray to see Bruce right under the mask so they both know who each other is.
So perfect.
Bruce Wayne
flipped him.
Remember? Yeah, but then Bruce, and then he looks at me and says, Bruce Wayne, you peaked.
Yeah.
You know, and then he gives him the tracker, and then when he finds the tracker, when Superman finds the tracker, and then he X-rays in on him watching him with his binoculars, and then he just salutes him and walks off, Superman's like, touche.
That was one hell of a tracker that Superman couldn't hear it or sense it.
That's true.
Yeah. And it was in the shape of a bat signal. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was in the shape of a bat, Kelly.
Batman is so extra. Everything has to be bats.
I think Superman was focused on getting home to Lois. He wasn't paying attention to anything else.
Speaking of Lois, the fact that this takes place in the Superman animated series, the fact that she's voicing Lois Lane and then she falls in love with Bruce Wayne, who's actually Batman, and she was Andrea Beaumont like 5 years before that. And then she says, Batman unmasked. There's not a blessed thing I can do about it. You remember when she said that in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, it's not only that I'm in love with two men, it's that I found out that the one man that I actually like, and I found out he's Batman unmasked, and there's not a blessed thing I can do about it. You know what? I'm going to get some iodine for that
stinging
scratch, burning, stinging iodine. And then Superman says, she's not going to, or no. When they're about to like plan and make there's like, you want to be a partnership? You're joking. And then he says, she's not going to like this, me leaving for another fight. Tell me about it. You know what I mean? Like the little moments, those little witty banter moments between Clark Kent and Batman. It's just, isn't it funny to you?
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
dialogue was top notch.
I think the dialogue was razor sharp, personally.
Mhm.
Whoever wrote it was a genius. Do we know who wrote it? Was it Bruce
Dini?
Timm and Paul Dini, maybe?
I'm pretty sure.
Anyone
Some
know
of
that?
The best episodes were Dini, so I would bet it was Dini. Dini was.
Dini is a genius.
You think so,
adore
Kelly?
him. I really like Dini.
Well, here's another thing, if you don't mind me asking, and this is something that we'll tie this into Kevin Conroy. Every time, for a couple of years now, I've only been reading comics for 5 years, just to give you some context. But every time I read a Batman comic, I hear his voice every single time. I don't know how anyone else feels about that, but I just read Batman the Black Mirror, which hardly has Batman in it. But when I read it and I hear certain lines from Batman, even though I don't think he's in it at all, or he might be in a flashback sequence, I don't know. Every time I read something, it's like, it's Conroy. Anything that has Batman on, I'm gonna hear Conroy's voice when I'm reading a Batman comic. Which reminds me, Kelly, favorite Batman comic? That when you
I'm gonna say the Long Halloween.
Conroy. Long Halloween.
Long Halloween is probably my favorite.
Is that Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb?
Yes.
Is it Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb? Do you remember that? Okay.
And I will say that the movie adaptation, I was very happy with it. It was really well done.
It?
I liked it a lot.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, great. Now I know what I'm doing tonight after the show.
It is not voiced by Conroy. Jensen Ackles is Batman, though.
Hey, he played Red Hood once upon a time, did he not?
He did. So you either die Red Hood or grow up to see yourself become Batman.
Yeah.
I understood what she did there, Eli. I understood what she did there. But that's a good one.
It's a two-parter, so you're going to be up late if you're watching the whole thing. But it was really well done. To plug Krypton Report, Tyler and I did a whole podcast about how much we loved it.
Aw, thanks for not inviting me. Anyway,
you haven't watched it.
I'm just kidding. I know. I have an excuse. Actually, I don't. Actually, that's me being weird. Kern says, I love the episode when Superman takes Batman's costume when he faces off with Bane, and Bane is so confused about how Batman can take such a beating during the course of that sequence. Does anyone remember that?
Yep.
I love whenever they pull that gag anywhere in the comics.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'd be curious to read some of those. If you have any recommendations, let me know in the chat or in Messenger there, Kelly. Kern says Bruce Wayne, a.k.a. Mr. Steal Your Girl for Clark Kent. What the heck are you talking about?
Come on, it's Batman.
Get out of here. And it's great, isn't it? By the way, Kern says Nightfall is my favorite Batman.
Wow.
Kern's, I have to make a confession here on set. I have Nightfall volumes 1 and 2 in trade paperback, and they're sitting on my desk downstairs in my office. Haven't read them yet. Haven't read them at all. Haven't even touched them.
Okay, so Eli, what's your favorite? Is it the Killing Joke?
Batman comic?
Did I insult your favorite? I'm sorry.
No. My favorite, believe it or not a lot of people are going to know, and I don't know if I should say it because I have plans for this one, but I'll say it.
Oh, okay, it's all right.
I think it was 96, 97. Marvel and DC did a Batman and Spider-Man team up. And Batman and Spider-Man at the time, Spider-Man's like my 4th or 5th favorite now. But when I was young, Batman and Spider-Man were like my 1st and 2nd. And I was like, I think about 16 when I read that. And it was Joker and Carnage. And they were taking, I believe, Joker to Ravencroft to get a chip implanted in his head to keep him from doing things, like kind of to control him. And then, so Batman's watching Joker get taken to New York. Spider-Man and Batman runs into each other. The way they interacted was awesome, and the art was from Mark Bagley, I believe. Amazing artist. He did Ultimate Spider-Man. And the coolest part, I won't spoil too much, but the coolest part was when the symbiote actually got on Joker.
Oh, that is scary as hell.
That is messed up.
To a point where literally the symbiote was so afraid of Joker, it was so unstable. And Batman was able to crack Joker in the face while he was trying to. The symbiote didn't know how to control Joker's mind because it was so fractured. So that means Joker's way more fractured than Cletus Cassidy is. And I remember reading that. I still have the original. I don't know if I have 2 issues because the other one I used to take to class with me and read it almost every day. That had to be my favorite Batman story.
Your comfort comic.
You're gonna have to send me the title of this in the messenger chat because now I want to read this. This is messed up.
It's hard to find. It's really expensive, and it's not on any of the Comixology stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not on Comixology, the website.
No,
that's unfortunate.
I
was gonna read this.
I have to go on. I'll find you some snapshots because I'm gonna go. I have like a whole list. I'm gonna say where I got it. but a whole thing of like digital comics from like fans that literally scanned every freaking page. And I downloaded that. Remember BearShare a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, or Napster? Napster. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try to find you because I'm
Please
gonna
do.
I'm gonna do a TikTok on it with those because I told my nephew about it. His mind was blown. He was like, "No," I'm like, "Yes, there was a comic, and there were two. They did
This is
Batman and
amazing.
Spider-Man again, and he went against Kingpin, and I forgot who the other one was. I think it could have been Penguin, but I'm not sure. Yeah,
Nice.
and there was
That's
Batman and
interesting.
Daredevil, Batman and Ninja Turtles, Batman and Darkness. Just saying.
There's
you
a
know what?
bunch. There's certainly a bunch.
Batman in Darkness was another one of my favorites. I'm sure you guys have no clue who Darkness is. This was a comic book that was like, remember Witchblade? Like
Yep.
Pow stuff. Well, this
Definitely
was
do remember Witchblade.
he had a suit that demons would come out of the shadows. He was a what you call it, a mafia hitman. So he
Oh
was
my gosh.
killing that. It was bloody comics, you know. It was not for the kids. But the crazy thing is,
NSFW, not safe for work.
when he teamed up with Batman, it was like that character. They made him kind of play off like, I'm a bad guy, but he kind of had like, you know, a conscience. But the demons, literal demons, you know, especially one with a cap that used to always hang out with him. Like there was something about him that he was struggling in the comics, in the actual Top Cow comics. He meets Batman, and something when they clash, he literally saw good, and he saw how good Batman was. That it saw the good in himself. Most of the time, these it's another. I'm telling something else. I'm gonna do another podcast. So
Well, you're just plugging all kinds of comics and podcasts in the middle of the night, aren't you?
most of the team ups, they disappear. They're not mentioned again. No one cares. This team up, actually, later on in the Darkness comics, he mentions when he started changing as a person, he started becoming, he was still killing and stuff. Obviously, he was, you know, it's a sick comic, but he started finding good in himself. And he used to mention the guy I met in Gotham, the guy in the Batsuit. Like they literally said it in that comic. You never saw that. Most of the time, that you never heard Spider-Man say, "Well, that time I met that Batman guy." Never again.
Well, usually they probably weren't allowed to mention it because the terms of the crossover were so tenuous that it was like, it happened. We made our money. You can't mention it.
The thriller's gone, baby.
It's one and as they say in the business, it's one and done. But
Batman's coming back, by the way, and they're going to release the old '90s ones too. So. I guess
there's going to be a lot. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things done. Whether it's honoring Kevin Conroy's memory, they're going to do something special in the Batman comics moving forward. What is it? Detective Comics, DC Comics, something like that is going to go down at some point or another. Kern says, "Great story about Batman being broken literally and figuratively by Bane and having to fight back to get his own mantle back." Yeah, that's a fair point, Kearns. It really was. And then he also says, "I wish I could find a copy of the Batman and Daredevil crossover, but it hasn't happened yet."
I feel like that would be a really good one to read. Eli, you were saying you've read it. It's good, right?
I have it. I have all those books I talked about. I've been collecting since I was 15.
Eli knows a thing or two because he collects a thing or two, Kelly. That's his point.
Too many things or two. My room looks like a comic store, and a toy store exploded and threw up all over it. So,
boy,
see, I sometimes feel like I started collecting late because I started collecting when I was like 24, but that means I've been collecting for almost 15 or over 15 years,
16,
but that's still late because a lot of the good stuff happened in the 90s. And
hey, I was one of those 90s kids. It's great, isn't it? By the way, Kern says, have you ever watched the Bat and the Sun superpower beatdowns where Batman goes up against Darth Vader and then Batman went up against Wolverine?
Those were interesting ones.
If you have not seen those are some great Marvel DC crossovers that we're never going to get on the big screen. We're never going to get them.
You never know.
But
I mean, 20 more years and Disney will own everything.
One day Disney's going to own everything.
Yeah. So I'm
not sure we should wish for that.
No, I don't.
Monopolies are bad, y'all.
I was going to say, Kelly, if we really want to turn this into Monopoly, you buy DC Warner Brothers properties, then we're really going to have problems. But at least in my opinion.
Spider-Man in a movie, so.
Yeah, but that was they worked some magic around that with what was it? Sony Pictures still owns the rights to Spider-Man? Well, motion picture rights anyway. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about a web head. Give me those pictures, Parker. Anyway, did I just hear J. Jonah James? Where's he at? Jameson, are you here? No, he's not. Anyway, so when it oh good lord. Yeah, when it comes to Batman toys when I was a kid. I think I had a few of the animated series figures because they had like 50,000 versions of Batman as a kid. Like you had Icebreaker Batman, Combat Batman, Army Batman. You had full-on Gamer Rage Batman. You had Batman and a Batmobile Batman. I remember having Batman on the Bat Cycle toy when I was a kid back in the day. This is back in 93, 94, I want to say. And anybody remembers KB Toys or Toys R Us?
Oh, yeah.
Those were the days when I was KB Toys. I would look up and down the aisles and I would think to myself, what toys do I want to get this week that I can't afford because my parents won't get them? So
I had to beg.
some of us had to beg for toys, Kelly. I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't know.
Favorite Batman?
I think I had some Batman toys. I remember getting what was it? The action figures, the Bat Cycle, the Batmobile. I think I had like a mini version of it, like Hot Wheels version of the Batmobile. Anybody remember the Hot Wheels version?
Yes, I have a few of those too.
Did you have Hot Wheels? Okay, we're gonna have to talk more about that later because I may have to start getting back into that. Anyway, so those are some things I had. I mean, I'm sure we have posters. And there's so much merchandise for this franchise, whether it's Kevin Conroy's iteration or otherwise. Let us know your thoughts about it in the chat or the comments because I'd love to hear this. But good Lord, Kearns has one more thing. You always have one more thing, Kearns. You never quit, do you? I had a Justice League Unlimited Batman action figure growing up with a flight suit and a few random Kenner figures that my older cousin gave to me. Now I own a Nightmare version of Batman figure from BBS, which is Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and a Michael Keaton Batman figure. Kearns, is there anything you don't own? Honestly. Jeez.
We got to match up toys. I got to see what he's got.
I know you might have to message him in the behind the scenes messenger area and find out what he's got. He's probably got a massive collection sitting around a box somewhere. Don't we all, Kelly?
Mine are drawn on shelves, and every time I fill up the shelf, I look at my husband and I say,
"We need a bigger house, honey."
We haven't reached that point yet. It's just we need to get more shelves.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you and the loved ones can figure that out. Willow Schuyler says, "I don't think I have enough Batmobiles."
There is no such thing as too many Batmobiles. So yes, Willow, you do not have enough Batmobiles.
Might have to ask her how many she has and get pictures of that because I know her favorite Batmobile is the '66 one with Adam West and Burt Ward. I know that much.
A really, really good Batmobile. My favorite is the '89 though.
Yes. If we're gonna go Batmobile, sorry, Kevin Conroy. We're gonna take a step back from Kevin Conroy for just a minute. If I had to pick my favorite Batmobile, it's got to be '89, and then the '92 Batman animated series Batmobile is probably my second.
I was gonna say the animated series one is like probably neck and neck.
It's pretty sleek, don't you think?
It's so sleek.
Like a fire truck.
It is like a fire truck, isn't it?
So I love that the animated series had this aesthetic where it kind of looked like it was a 1930s noir,
very noirish
show, but then it had 90s sensibilities in the storytelling, like it was timeless.
It is. Some things just don't age. Some things are just timeless. By the way, Kern says my Nightmare Batman figure stands guard over my Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes autographs. So you've got Jay and Silent Bob to sign something for you. That is just,
that's awesome.
I don't know why. I love the '89 Batmobile, but I also love the Batman Forever Batmobile.
Forever one is also good. Also, I will defend that movie. There is a Drunk Comics episode.
Is there a comics episode I should be aware of?
There's a Drunk Comics episode of me drunkenly defending that movie with a friend of mine.
Oh, I know what Eli's going to be doing later tonight.
Riddler's the best actor ever.
He's going to be watching that video.
Look,
from the set.
That movie is campy and fun. Okay,
I have respect for it. Batman and Robin.
Same here. I don't think it's that bad of a film. I like Batman Forever. Heck, I've met Val Kilmer twice.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
I've met him twice, Kelly.
That movie is what it is. It makes no apologies. It's just campy and fun. I love it.
And you know what? To Robin.
The music.
And unlike, the music was the best. And unlike the Bale movies, Gotham City actually had character and looked comic booky, whereas the Bale movies, it was literally just Chicago.
So it was Chicago with them Bears. A cup of coffee with them Bears. Did the Bears win their game today? I don't know. Kern says I have a second look episode defending the movie simply known as Batman Forever. Well, guess what, Kearns?
See what, Kearns? You're my new best friend.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you follow Matthew Kearns on social media, which all of you should do right now, and also here's the second thing for you, Kelly. Go to Take 3 Productions on our good friends on YouTube.com. Go to the YouTube channel, click on the playlist where it says Second Look. Watch some of his past episodes because he's got one on Batman Forever. He's got one on certain other movies that deserve a second look, including what was it, The Hunt for Red October, Dick Tracy. So, speaking of comic book movies, Dick Tracy's a comic book movie. In case you haven't noticed,
movie.
It's a good movie.
Well, he's got a second look episode just for you, Kelly. So, by the way, Kern says Val Kilmer is his favorite Bruce Wayne.
He did play a good Bruce Wayne. Yes, he did.
Well, when you're hitting on Nicole Kidman, you can really never go wrong.
Someone asked me because they couldn't remember which one was Batman Forever. I was like, it's a movie with Nicole Kidman as a random love interest.
Yeah.
Batman, but a very capable one. A very capable one because she did her homework, Kelly. She did her homework. She's like, hey, maybe you just haven't met the right woman. Maybe you need, or maybe I need skin tight vinyl and a whip.
Not every girl can make a superhero's
He's like, I say yes to both.
Not every superhero can make a girl's night table. That's right. Yeah. There's some good lines in there, dude. I'm serious.
And she was flipping gorgeous. I mean,
95 Nicole Kidman, she was in her prime.
I had her poster over my bed.
Hold on a second. I want to reverse this for a minute. Did you have a poster of Batman Forever, including Nicole Kidman on the cast picture, or was it Nicole Kidman by herself?
I had all the Batman posters, like all the Batman.
Oh, okay, so not just Nicole Kidman.
Okay, so
I wouldn't fault you if it was just Nicole Kidman, though.
If it was just Nicole Kidman as Dr. Chase Meridian, I wouldn't fault you.
No, it was her. It was with the question mark where she's kind of like slumped over a little bit,
So are you saying it was a solo poster?
Yeah.
Oh wow, Kelly.
The things we learn
on this show. Even though we're celebrating the memory of the late great Kevin Conroy, and yet we get drawn into other pieces of the Batman mythology. Because let's face it, how many actors have portrayed this character in the 80 years he's been in existence? Probably 20, 30 people.
Yeah. But there's only one of them.
Well, and this is another thing. I'll revert back to what we're talking about. A lot of people have stated over the years, and maybe some people agree with me on this. When people rank their favorite Batmans, and this is overall, this isn't just the live action, this isn't just the animation, this is people who've done video games, comic books, everything. Everyone always says that Conroy's the GOAT. Everyone always says that Conroy's the number one. And I don't think you can argue with that necessarily, because every time I'm reading a Batman comic, what do I hear? I hear Conroy.
So many people have been sharing that, and me too. And also, Batman the Animated Series was a gateway into Batman into
the DC universe for a lot of
people. Into the DC universe for many people. Most people of our generation.
Including myself. I didn't know who Poison Ivy and who was the other one, like Killer Croc and Dr. Jonathan Crane, who plays the Scarecrow. I didn't know who any of those people were at the time until I watched the show. And by the way, the show got away with a lot of dark stuff. That's number one. Number two, you learn a lot about the villains in these episodes. Probably a little bit more than you want to learn, but at the same time, when it comes to character development, you want to know those things. What makes a character tick, right? What makes Bruce Wayne tick? And that's what Conroy brought to the role. I
also want to point out that the show, not only did you learn a lot about the villains, the show actually defined the villains, because a lot of these villains were one-dimensional characters in the comics.
And they were cheap one-offs in the comics that no one cared about. But look what the animated series did for them.
Like Mr. Freeze's backstory was not like that in the comics until the show came along.
Oh, it wasn't?
Harley Quinn did not even exist
in the comics until the series came out.
Mr. Freeze was a thug that stole diamonds, right, or something. Yeah.
Catwoman got more of a backstory. Poison Ivy got more of a backstory. Who was another one that no one really cared for? I mean, you think of some of the minor female villains or some of the minor DC characters. Like
I think even the Riddler.
Yeah, the Riddler got a bigger stick. And by the way, who'd have thought that John Glover would play two successful villains? One as the Riddler, then two as Lionel Luthor in the greatest superhero TV series of all time. Nothing against Batman, by the way. Smallville. Smallville, to me, is the cream of the crop. I know there's an argument to be made, but John Glover was fantastic as Lionel Luthor.
Did he also play, even though the movie's hard to watch, Batman and Robin, did he play Professor Woodrow?
He was the doctor who created Bane in the laboratory. Wait a minute, Kelly, you didn't know this?
I have blocked a lot of that movie out.
Well, I think
I just remember the freeze puns.
I'm hearing his voice and seeing him with the glasses. And
Eli, that was indeed John Glover.
It is time for me to rewatch that movie.
In the movie Batman and Robin, which, by the way, that won so many Razzie Awards. Congratulations. Great
Actually,
job.
I might drunk tweet that as I watch it. That sounds like a good time to me.
Are you?
No. I'm saying at some point I will make a night to drunk tweet that. Also, I'm going to at some point make my husband watch the Super Mario Brothers movie, the 90s one, and drunk tweet that. Because it's on YouTube.
I have love for that movie still.
Hey, Eli, you and I, all of us to a certain degree grew up in the 90s, so I remember watching that movie on repeat all the time and how funny it was. I didn't care for the video game much, but I liked the movie because the movie was funny to me.
I risked my life for that movie.
Especially when you're ordering a pizza.
How did you risk your life for that movie? I'm sorry,
I was maybe 13, and I snuck out with my friend. I lied to my parents.
And you went to see that?
And our theater was not close. We had to go down a viaduct in Jersey City where there's cars all over the place. So me and my friend, instead of taking the train because we had no freaking clue, we went down. Then we were late for the movies because they kept showing it. It kept getting full. So we saw a 7 o'clock instead of a 1 o'clock. I got home late. I said, "Oh yeah, my friend's dad took us, and thank God they didn't call my house because I would have got the superhero beatdown for my dad." My best friend though, his parents actually they called him, and my best friend, he knows he's talking. I'm not gonna say who he is, but he's such a sweetheart, and he's Superman. He's Superman to my Batman. His parents were they were like, "You actually lied to us. We're so proud of you."
We lost our host.
He went to the Matrix. It's all right. You can take over.
I can take over. All right. Well, I don't have the controls, but sure. I'm in charge, so everything is chaos.
Controlled chaos. That's the beautiful thing about chaos.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I loved that movie. I really did. I can still watch it. It's hard to find. It's on DVD, but it's on
YouTube.
It is? Okay, YouTube.
My husband told me that. I'm like, guess what we're watching? And then we haven't had time. But it's
and you think about it, right? They tried to make sense of something that was so senseless. Mm-hmm. Like a dinosaur with Goombas and turtles.
I love it so much.
Who was high thinking of this? You know what I mean? So it's
everyone.
From an artist's point of view, I give it respect that they literally tried to do something different.
Supposedly, one of the main cast members, I think it was the guy who played King Koopa, hated the script so much that he would get mad at everyone every few days, and they'd have to rewrite everything. That's one of the reasons the movie is so bad.
Wow, what was the actor's name?
I can't remember.
Oh wow!
Welcome back, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry.
Matrix.
So no, I wasn't. I actually had to pay some bills and sponsorships. It's called taking a commercial break. In other words, on something else. Anyway, let's see. Your current
Dennis Hopper. Sorry.
Well, who was it?
We were talking about who played King Cooper, Dennis Hopper.
Oh, that's right. Oh, and Super Mario Brothers, the movie that we grew up on as children. Maybe not so much Kelly, but I did. So Kern says she helps Bruce. He's referring to Dr. Chase Marini in Batman Forever. Overcome his PTSD. That counts for something in the movie.
That actually was a really well done story. It was a super silly, campy movie, but I actually really liked that, and that was a really good love interest for Bruce.
And it's Nicole Kidman in her prime. I can't say no. And by the way, Kern says Justice League Unlimited was my introduction to superheroes, period. Yes. And it was a fantastic introduction.
Good introduction. Such a good series. Oh.
By the way, Kern says Two-Face with the split personality came from the television series.
I did not know that part.
And by the way, John Glover also plays the father of the villain from the first Shazam movie with Zachary Levi, of all people.
That's right.
That's right.
By the way, speaking of being drunk when you're doing stuff, even though you shouldn't be drunk when you're working on set, Bob Hoskins said that him and John Leguizamo were drunk during the entirety of the filming of the movie.
Because they kept getting yelled at. Because they kept getting yelled at. Yeah. I'm telling you, I cannot remember who it was that was yelling at them, but
that's why they were having so much fun. They were not even there.
That too.
I don't think anyone was there during the filming of that movie, including the woman who played, what was her name? The princess. What was it? God, Samantha Mathis.
Yeah.
Plays the love interest in that movie. She plays Princess something.
And it's not Princess Peach. They gave her a whole other name.
Toadstool, right?
Daisy. It was Daisy. Thank you, Kern. See, Kearns comes up with a 3-pointer at the buzzer. It is Daisy.
He's the MVP. Okay, so to get back on topic.
Yeah, please, for the love of Pete, we're talking about weird random things that have nothing to do with.
Why do you keep inviting me to shows?
It's like a comic book store. This is how it is at a comic book store.
Hey, and by the way, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. And if you want, I know I probably shouldn't put this out there in the universe, but I hope this happens. So cross your fingers. When the new year comes and the holidays settle down and things kind of, pseudo go back to a normalcy, there's some comic books in and around my town where I live. I'm going to see if they have any openings because I want to work at a comic book store. For real. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I want to hang out with people all day.
Yeah,
I want to look at comics all day. I want to read some comics if I can on my lunch hour, if not during my shift. Be like, yo, these are the comics I'm going to recommend to everybody who walks into the store. It's starting tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Period.
But Ryan, if you work in a comic book shop, you will have no paycheck left over because your paycheck will be spent before you leave the shop.
Probably.
I help out at one, and I can say, yeah.
See, Eli knows, but
That's why I could never.
Yeah.
Eli works for a comic shop, so he knows what goes down with his money.
Yeah.
By the way, Kern says this is such a fun stream featuring all of you panelists. Well, thank you, Kern. We hope you're enjoying this unorganized chaos. And then he also says that's a perfect job for you, Ryan, working at a comic book store.
I agree.
Well, hey, listen, Eli, if I get a job, you'll probably be one of the first people I call.
There you go. Come in Newark.
I'll text you. I'll text Kelly. I'm going to text Krayley because Krayley's going to lose her mind.
Yes, that's going to tie in well with your show with Krayley, Comic Books,
which is called, coincidentally enough, it's called Comic Books, The New Class, which is part of the back of the serial box, which you can find more information about in the description of this video. Hashtag always be promoting. But Kelly, you said you were going to get us back on the tracks here. Okay. What exactly are you going to say that's going to return us back to the Batman mythology?
So Eli, you'd already touched on Kevin's comic talking about his experience as a gay man and how
I didn't even know he was gay. Honestly, I had no idea.
Well, and that's an interesting thing. So when he first got I didn't know until recently either. But he talked about the reason why he had such an easy time, easy as far as being an actor, such an easy time relating to Bruce and playing his dual identity is because when he first read the script, he was like, oh, so he's one way in public and then he masks his true self. So he's like, the party boy billionaire ladies man in public. And that's really gut-wrenching. But that's also kind of the experience of being gay in Hollywood. And I'm so glad that he got the chance to speak out about that experience and how that informed his character. And that's, I think, why he has that pathos to the character. Because I think most people can agree that he plays the best duality of the character of anyone who's played it. Granted, he's also had the most, a TV series gives you more time to breathe with the character.
Yeah, because there's only so much you can do in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, a TV series gives you more character development. And he really did a good job of playing that duality of
growth.
The public figure, Bruce Wayne.
Sure.
The Batman. And he also played that kind of in between the private Bruce Wayne that was shown to those closest to him, like Dick Grayson and occasionally Selena, definitely Alfred. But not Selena in that Kyle. Way.
Ooh, boy.
Oh, Selena, yeah.
That's an interesting relationship. The bat and the cat. Maybe not so. I mean, some people say it was really well done in Batman Returns. But speaking of which, that movie just turned 30 years old earlier this year, Batman Returns, ironically enough. But the relationship between him and Catwoman in the show was something they kind of played with a little bit. And I thought that was interesting. She's like, listen, she's a jewel thief, but she's not really that bad of a person. I mean, she's got feelings too.
Better than Talia.
Yeah, the baby.
Don't you mean the one that seduced him, poisoned him? They had a baby together, and then she didn't tell him about it for 10 years.
Yeah, but she didn't do that in the show.
Okay, no, but I'm just saying within the comic book timeline, didn't she seduce Bruce at some point, and then they had a kid together, and that kid turned out to be Damian?
Yeah,
which I hate to say this. I know this is gonna. Hey, you want to hear a hot take here on the Batman show? Let's go for it. I'm not a big fan of Damian.
Yeah,
most people
I don't really like Damian. I think he's a punk. He's just a spoiled brat.
But he's had character development more recently that makes him more palatable.
In the movies, maybe?
No, in the comics.
Oh, in the comics. Sorry.
In much more recent comics, he's had better character development. His best moments, though, are when he's playing off of John, Clark's son. Clark and Lois' son.
Super
John
son.
brings out the best in him. So
I know who John is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I should know. I mean, I'm a Batman fan, but I'm also a diehard Superman fan.
Yes,
I
but
mean, Tyler, I think, takes the cake on that. But Tyler, no offense. I know you're still watching this in the comfort of your own home. I think I can give you just a little bit of a run for your money.
you might be able to.
Anyway,
but you are correct. Damien is insufferable.
it's just I'm so sorry. I just can't do it. By the way, Kern says that Kevin Conroy is actually from Westbury, New York, which is the same town that Matthew Kearns went to college in.
Interesting.
I was unaware of that, Kearns. By the way, he also says Perchance to Dream is a great episode, and that Selena and Bruce are actually getting hitched.
Yeah.
Getting married.
The episode was so wild. It was just that really peels back the layers of Bruce's psyche. And like, speaking of that, I have a podcast recommendation.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. It's called the Arkham Sessions.
Oh, I listened to that.
I never heard of it.
I love that.
I never heard of it. What is it exactly? What do they do?
So one of the hosts is a clinical psychologist, and and then the other host is, so his background is he like works kind of in animation, not kind of, but he works in animation.
Factory. He's like an editor producer, like the DVD.
Oh, he works for the studio Shout Factory.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he kind of knows. He kind of takes that.
I know Shout Factory. I have a bunch of DVDs from Shout Factory, including Power Rangers. Thank you very much.
Yep. But so they go. They basically did a rewatch of the whole series. Like they've finished it now, but and
they psychoanalyze it.
Yeah,
they psychoanalyze every character with her clinical psychologist background.
Dude, send me the link. Send me the link. I want to see this.
I love the Mr. Freeze episode. Those two fought hard, and I told my brother, I'm like, I think they're a couple, and he's like, no. And next thing you know, they got married after. So I was like, yeah, because they had like,
I didn't know that. That's adorable.
They got married a little after, but I was like, that fight between something small and like they're barking at each other. I'm like, I told my brother, I'm like, yeah, I think they're in a relationship. And
you're gonna have to send me a link to this podcast
really
that we're talking about when it comes to the Batman.
They started doing Marvel stuff recently, the Marvel movies too, but they started with every single episode of Batman the animated series.
How many episodes were there? Like 300 episodes? Like 200 episodes?
75.
Oh, so there were only 75 episodes of Batman TAS?
Of the animated series. There was actually less. Like 60 and plus like 65 plus like 13 of the Gotham.
That's weird because when you watch the show, you would think there's like 100, 200 episodes of that show because it ran for so long, even though I think it only ran for like 3 years. If I'm remembering correctly, if anyone has any information about it, let us know in the comments. Once again, we are celebrating, or at least attempting to celebrate, the memory of Kevin Conroy, even though Kelly is getting us somewhat back on track. Eli's doing voiceover impressions that we didn't even know existed. And then Tyler, who was here earlier, when you go back and watch the replay, and by the way, if you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you for being with us and humoring us with our unorganized chaos of celebrating the greatness that is Kevin Conroy. And by the way, I'm enjoying these comments in the chat. Every single one of you who has chimed in, whether it's from the beginning, the middle, the end, doesn't matter. And then Kern says, my favorite moment of Kevin's acting as Batman is in the film Mask of the Phantasm when he's at his parents' grave asking for forgiveness because he has finally found happiness with Andrea Beaumont. Listen, Kearns, I was rewatching that movie today. That's where I paused the movie right after he says, please forgive me. And then she says, maybe they already have, maybe they sent me. And then she like hug, you know what I mean? Like they hug each other at the end of that. Dude, that movie is it's perfection. If you want Batman perfection, that's as close as you're gonna get.
That movie is for me. Okay, so that's really close for me. It's Ace's death scene in Justice League Unlimited.
Oh yeah.
Just gets me every freaking time.
Wait, whose death scene?
Okay, so
is it the little girl?
Yes, on the swing.
Oh,
I'm gonna start crying right now. Like,
that's
okay,
weird. You know, I gotta be honest with you. I watched that episode and I was like, this is weird. That a little girl is just swinging on a swing set and she's about to like die or something. That's just weird to me.
She was like,
it's a weird episode,
wasn't she? From X-Men, she was like Proteus. The kid with like the power to change the whole like reality of everything.
Yeah, she was warping reality.
So it's like Wanda Maximoff, like Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
But Proteus was a child in the X-Men comic. That's weird. And the cartoon. They did an episode on the cartoon show.
Did they?
Yes, yeah.
And I did like the framing of how it's telling like the framing of how it's basically Amanda Waller telling Terry McGinnis in the future that that's the moment that she realizes that the world will always need Batman, even though she'd always been opposed to him.
Yeah.
But Not a big fan of the fact that it's
Batman's
revealed
son.
that. Yeah, it's revealed that she manipulated things. So
She put Batman DNA in Terry's dad.
that was so weird. I didn't like that part.
Yeah, didn't we find out that Terry McGinnis is actually Bruce Wayne's son?
Yeah, because somehow Amanda Waller managed to inject Bruce's sperm into his dad.
I thought it was a shocking twist when I watched it on the animated series. What was it, JLU? I think it was called, like Epilogue. And then I'm thinking to myself, a little weird, but I think I can get it because everything has to tie into Batman for some reason. By the way, Electric Maestro, whatever it is, says, meanwhile, Teen Titans Go has gone as far as 366 episodes across 8 different seasons. Sometimes Batman is even in it, I think. Ha ha.
How is it still going? That's wild.
Electric Maestro, thank you for being with us from Twitch. Actually, thank you for being with us because we are streaming on Twitch as well as Twitter. Yes, I know.
And then
YouTube and Facebook.
By the way,
is that a friend of yours, Eli?
No, 85 episodes of Batman. I just wanted to correct myself.
No, is that 85. Also counting the new
Batman
when they
Adventures?
Changed? Yes. Yeah, when they changed it. Okay, because they did change the name like 2 seasons in.
It was called the Batman Superman Adventures,
and then it was called Batman: The New Adventures.
And they called it New Adventures, but it was, if you watch the intro, is hard to find too. But yeah, it was Batman Superman Adventures on Saturdays. That's when they started with Holiday Night, the first episode, and they kept going, and then they renamed it when Superman. They took it from that, then it became Batman Adventures.
Well, and then at one point, wasn't it Batman and Robin?
That was the second season of Batman the Animated Series.
It was called The Adventures of Batman and Robin. Hence the reason they released all those VHS tapes back in the 90s that included episodes of The Adventures of Batman and Robin, which are episodes featuring the Riddler, the Joker, Mr. Freeze. You had the Penguin. You had Two-Face. You had the untold story of Robin. You had this. You had that. Listen, VHS tapes, ladies and gentlemen, were a very big thing for us 90s kids. And I remember getting some of these tapes. And by the way, Kelly, I still have some of those tapes to this very day.
Wow.
Were you kind and are they rewound? Be kind, rewind.
Or get fined?
Yes. I rewind each and every single one of my tapes when I'm done watching it so I can go back and watch it again. And yes, I've done that with my Power Rangers VHS tapes, okay? I've done the same thing with the X-Men VHS tapes, by the way.
Excellent.
I still have a few see what you did there? Excellent.
Excellent. You know, I mean, I know this is Wakanda Forever now, but you know what? It works.
I still have my X-Men. I still have 2 or 3 X-Men VHS tapes if it makes you feel any better.
That makes me happy.
Night of the Sentinels. I still have that one.
Yes.
Still have Night of the Sentinels, baby.
Jubilee. Let's go, bub.
Exactly. Kern says Batman and Robin was one of the first VHS tapes I ever owned. Wow, Kearns, thank you for making us feel so old.
Right. He's a
baby.
I
had it too, believe it or not.
He's a baby. Just so everyone knows, just to give a little bit of context here, Kearns is in his early 20s.
Wow.
So he is a baby compared to us.
Baby.
Yeah. Kearns, let us know what your real age is in the chat. Because I think, didn't you just turn like 23 this year or something? I don't know, 22?
Enjoy it, kiddo. Enjoy it.
Yeah, when you hit a certain age like us, you know, we're going to be...
the shoulder starts hurting, the back starts hurting.
Kearns just turned 25 this year, Kelly.
Oh. As old as my oldest, 25.
He's 25 years of age.
Oh, Eli, that's good. So I may not be the oldest one in this stream for once.
I'm 41.
Kearns says he was born in 97, the same year the Academy Award-winning film Batman and Robin came out.
Did you say you're 41? Okay, so you've got me by a year.
That's
hey!
So I'm the oldest here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Hey, Kearns, if it makes you feel any better, Kearns, I just turned 35. So,
I'm wrong. I turned 41 last month.
Yeah, you and Eli are the same age.
I'm in denial.
I think Kelly's been in denial for the last 6 months.
No,
right?
it's more just it's been my life.
It's been a hectic year for some of us in this studio.
My life has been a blur this entire year. So my birthday just blew me by. So I'm 41. Never mind.
I'm 41 too.
Mentally, you're 45.
Kearns says if it makes you feel any better mentally, I'm 45.
Mentally, like I know 45-year-olds that are mindless.
Honey, I just forgot my age and told everyone watching that I'm 40.
That's okay.
What did you say?
Age is but a number.
It is. And we're all children at heart, Kearns. We're all children at heart. That goes for everybody on this panel and everyone outside of this panel. Look at Tyler. you seen Tyler's studio? That guy's got more action figures and posters than you can shake a movie theater at.
My wall.
By the way,
last
Kelly,
year I got carded buying spray paint. So.
By the way, Kelly, can you describe to us what exactly is that on your back wall? Are those comic book panels?
That's awesome.
These are no actual valuable comics dyed. These are all like dollar comics and like the comics you can get from Walmart.
Nowadays.
No, I'm not. No, my good comics are kept nicely. They're bagged and boarded. But this is a panel that I decorated. This is the DC half. I also have a Marvel half. So this is my podcasting backdrop. Boy,
you're getting both sides of the coin.
Yeah, here.
Oh my gosh, let's see if we can blow that up for us. Where was that?
Going
up. Wow, that's like 8 feet high.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And it is 8 feet high.
There's the Marvel side.
See the Marvel side there, Eli?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you separated Marvel and DC?
Of course I did.
Of course you did. You can't have both in the same panel.
They can get along. That's why they're side by side.
The same character, Batman and Superman, Marvel, and actually that was the first crossover of Batman and Superman. Spider-Man and Superman. Sorry.
Well, one of them was.
My coffee is going. My caffeination is going.
I can't. Jeez. People are just killing me. Philip Miller chimes in. He says, "I better not say what my age is. It hurts me so bad that Kevin Conroy passed." Yes, it does.
That's true, Philip.
It's unfortunate. He was only 66 years old. I noticed that they said in an article that Kevin Conroy struggled with cancer at one point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was the cause of his death because I thought maybe the cancer.
I think it was. I think that his husband and the girl that did Ivy, they actually said.
Oh, okay. They announced. Well, I think they were the two that announced it, right?
Yeah, they were.
It was the girl who played Poison Ivy. I can't remember her name, Kelly. It bothers me that I can't remember her name. Constance Miller. I can't remember. If anyone knows in the chat, let me know. But once again, we are attempting to celebrate Kevin Conroy, even though Kelly's just showing off her walls. Celebrating Kevin Conroy's life and memory. If you have any thoughts about this, if you have any memories of him, whether you met him in person, whether you came across him at a Comic-Con, whether you have a collectible that's signed by him or a certain memory of the show, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends because we are celebrating the greatness of Kevin Conroy. A lot of people, he was a generation's Batman. He's been a lot of generations Batman. He will be continued to be remembered no matter what because even though a dark night has fallen, his legacy is going to live on forever. And those are the facts of this case. And they are undisputed. So with that being said, Kelly, any final thoughts on this celebration of Kevin Conroy?
Well, as I mentioned before, his legacy really is going to live forever. Like he helped craft Batman for not only a generation, but his impact on Batman is going, or it bled over to the comics. It's everywhere. And his championing, his telling a story of being a gay man in Hollywood and the gay man behind the voice of one of the most recognized superheroes in the world was really important. And I'm guessing he probably was so open about that because he knew because he was struggling with cancer. And that's why he was so open with it. And that was a real gift. That was like probably one of the biggest gifts he gave to all of us, just being open with the struggle, humanizing it. And that man, the world didn't deserve him. He did so many great things for all of us. And I'm just really glad we had the time we did. And so when Jewish people are, I'm not Jewish to be clear, but when Jewish people
not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, but I'm not trying to appropriate, but when Jewish people are mourning, they say, may their memory be a blessing. Mm-hmm. His memory is a blessing.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So that's my rambling final words.
You're rambling? Is that what you'd call it? It's called a tribute. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. No, I'm trying not to cry.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not. There's no crying in baseball. Why don't you leave her alone, Jimmy? Oh, you zip it, Doris. Sorry, that's.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Something like that. I'm sorry. I had to. When I hear about that, I just automatically think of A League of Their Own. Which, by the way, that movie turned 30 years young this year. Congratulations to A League of Their Own. Fantastic. One of the greatest of all time. But not to get off the subject here, Eli. Any final thoughts on celebrating the memory of Kevin Conroy tonight?
My final thoughts.
Go ahead.
Like Kelly was saying, he left a legacy behind, and I think when you are like, it made me think about, like, God forbid, like when I died 1,020, like I tell my students, the outcry, how people like so love this man, like I hope he knew how much he was valued. I'm sure he did, but like so many people came out to say that they appreciated him, they loved him. He did so much for so many. I hope he knew that, and I believe in my heart of hearts he did. And as far as like getting to meet him, I'm grateful I got a chance to meet him. I'm grateful. Like, I don't have many heroes, if not any really, but I would consider him a hero, and then, like, when firefighters ask me on the job who's my favorite Batman, I'm the Batman fan, and as you can see my painting, right? I'm the Batman fan on the job, and they call me Batman. I get dressed up as Batman for my kids' events and stuff, and Halloween stuff, and I always do the Kevin Conroy voice when I'm, dressed as Batman. But or they say do the Kristen Bale, but where's your detonator? But anyway,
Where's the trailer?
But
sorry, just had to bring it up.
When people ask me who's my favorite Batman, and like they always think the movies, I say Kevin Conroy. They're like, who? And I'm like, I explained to them who this character was, and I explained to them that he started it, really. Like she said, like everything from the animated series bled out into the comics, made the comics better, made the movies more interesting. It defined generations. It literally was like 66 was awesome, but like this show really made Batman stronger. And for Kevin, I say this. I say he was vengeance. He was the knight. He was Batman, and God bless him for it. And again, my heart goes out to his family and people that were close to him. So.
Absolutely. I want to bring up a few comments here before we transition over to myself. Let's see here. Was it Kern says, what's great, the fact that Kevin did so many projects, future generations will always know Kevin's voice as Batman. That's true. Philip Miller says, I only heard great things about the man, but I never met him. He was the James Earl Jones of Batman voices. That's a good way of looking at it.
That's a good way, yeah.
Impressive, most impressive. Sorry. And then Kearns drops the line, rest in peace, Kevin. Philip Miller says, I love the scene where Batman actually kills Dracula. Batman kills Dracula?
And the Batman they fought at cartoon.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to look this up.
That was a sad big cartoon.
Let's see. Kern says, what's wonderful is the fact that Adam West was able to give Kevin a hug for us all. There you go. Another tribute there. No problems with that. Phil Miller says, no worries, Kelly. Eli, I feel mortality creeping closer to my life after people like Kevin passed. I'm glad that you got a chance to meet him. So there you go.
Make the best of the time we got. That's the best.
Yep. Phil Miller says, Eli, Kevin Conroy is the best Batman post Adam West. Okay, that's one way of looking at it for sure. Because a lot of people, for a certain generation of people, Adam West was their Batman. That's all I'm going to say. Oh my goodness. John Bill Clinton Smith says, hello from Manchester, England. Oh my gosh. Man, we got fans from all over the place. Thank you so much for being with us. But listen, I'm going to leave you with this. A dark night has fallen, but his legacy will live on forever, period. And whenever you read a Batman comic, you're going to hear that immortal voice, Kevin Conroy. That's what I got to say about that. And the last thing I'll say here about Batman as a whole, real quick side note, just a really quick side note. If you're interested in reading or learning more about the Caped Crusader known as Batman, fun fact, the first Elseworld story that was ever told in the history of the comics is Batman Gotham by Gaslight. So if you want to know more about that, read the paperback. It's out there. You can find it. Mike Mignola, before he got turned on to Hellboy. Hello. Brian Augustine wrote that. He was a part of the team. So there you go. Lots of Batman history. But yes, there is a Batman Gotham by Gaslight animated film. And yes, Kelly, I'll add it to my flippin' HBO Max queue. Okay.
Or else.
As if I haven't added a lot of things since I've been listening to this conversation.
You gotta make the list.
That's why that's why sometimes I'm like, I have to stop talking to people. My to watch queue is ridiculous.
Well, my HBO Max queue is going to get bigger and bigger. So thanks a lot, Kelly. We blame you for our problems. But I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who tuned in. I want to thank each and every one of you on the panel. Tyler, we talked with him earlier. He had to leave. He had a prior engagement. Maybe the missus was like, hey, we need more Batman shirts. Anywho. Eli, where can the person watching or listening to this follow you on social media? Where can they find you, Eli?
You can find me on Facebook, on Art of Eli 1980. You can find me on Instagram, Art of Eli 1980, TikTok at Art of Eli, and YouTube, Ethos of Eli. Also, I do 2 podcasts, one with my brother. It's at Popping Out on Instagram, and Matthew Popping Out on YouTube. And my boy Charles, we do indie stuff, comic book stuff. Hits Speak On It 12 on Instagram. I think that's it. I think
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us, kind sir. Going to turn things over to Kelly. Kelly, even though you were fashionably late, doesn't matter. Sorry. You came, you saw, you kicked its behind, you rocked. So, Kelly, there's a line for you from the 1984 film. But, Kelly, where can the person watching or listening to this follow you specifically on social media and everything that you have coming up? Because I know you're a busy person.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. Okay.
Ooh, that doesn't sound creepy. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I may be outside your window later.
All right. We'll take a look out. We'll take a look outside a little bit here in the backstage area.
So the easiest place to find me is on my website at kellygetner.com. I'm going to spell my last name for you. I'm going to spell my whole name. It's KELLYGUENTNER.com. That's where you can keep up with all my podcast stuff, my books, my cosplay stuff. You can also go to linktree.com/PhoenixCosplay. All my stuff is listed on there, or at least I try to keep up with it. So I do a podcast called Cosplay Cafe. The podcast I mentioned earlier, Drunk Comics. I'm not making new ones because I couldn't keep getting drunk every weekend. But so that's on my Phoenix Sisters YouTube channel. If you want to look up old episodes, my guests were very funny. I quite enjoyed it. It was basically drunk history, but for comics. Ryan and I are working together on a virtual convention that's coming up in January called the Multiverse Fundraiser. Yes, Ryan's ready. We're going to be announcing the celebrity guest list the day after Thanksgiving. And our celebrity guest list is amazing. Ryan knows. So that is exciting. And I do too much.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. As the image says on the screen, it is January the 20th to the 22nd, 2023. Go to the multiversefundraiser.com. Presented by Back at the Cereal Box. Find out all the information. Follow them on social media because announcements are going to be made very, 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 very soon. You're going to be thankful that you check out the website. Follow them on social media. You may find something you may like. I don't know. But I will leave you with this. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. You're a wonderful person inside out. Eli, thank you for being here. Tyler, thank you for being here. You're wonderful. Thank you. So once again, my name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. More links can be found in the description of this video for upcoming projects, whether it's the Multiverse Fundraiser, whether it's Comic Books The New Class. Speaking of comic books, speaking of Batman, we may or may not be talking about that, Comic Books The New Class. It is a show that's hosted by Crayley Vaness, one half of Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, and myself. It's held on the third Tuesday of every month, so we got a new episode coming up on Tuesday, November the 15th. We're going to be talking about manga. That's right, manga. How interesting is that going to be? Well, you got to tune in and find out because it's going to be like watching an educational show on PBS or something like that. I don't know, but it's going to be a lot of fun. But for those of you who are watching or listening to this, once again, thank you for being here, sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your comments, your stories about Kevin Conroy. Great man, wonderful human being, legendary voice of Bruce Wayne / Batman for many, many generations, and his legacy will live on forever. With that being said, I'm the three of us here, and we are going to give you a moment here at home, wherever you may be. We are going to give the studio here a moment of silence to honor and celebrate the memory of Kevin Conroy. After I play this, because after working with a wonderful panel of people and having to sit here and enjoy this presentation with all of you for 2 hours, I got one thing to say to that.
All right, I'm a little tired, a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.
Gone in 60 seconds.
I love that movie. So now, please join me in a moment of silence for the memory and the celebration of Kevin Conroy. Have a good one. And remember, Batman will live on forever. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. Read a Batman comic. Take it easy, everyone.